The Beginning of Douluo with a pan. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76. Investigate old cases. 1. After absorbing the third soul ring, Tang Lin's soul power immediately reached level. At only 10 years old, he already has level soul power. I'm afraid he is the youngest level soul master in the history of Douluo continent. This is thanks to his innate soul power of level, coupled with his hard work in cultivation over the past 4 years, and the blessings of many soul beasts during this period. He has achieved such an achievement today. The lynxy heavy armor, which weighed thousands of pounds, was like a piece of fluttering underwear to him at this moment. He knew that this heavy armor would not be of much help to him now. When he returned, he could give it to Xiaomi for training. Yellow, purple, black. The 3 soul rings at my feet look so comfortable. After gathering everything, opened the map. Ahead is a cliff thousands of feet high. Point starter. According to the map, you have to go through the canyon in front of you to get to the Star Luo Empire. If you jump off the cliff, you can save at least a day or 2. Although he has no flying skills, his external soul bone still has a parachute form, and this cliff is no longer a cliff to him. Wang Xiaoshu was originally waiting for Tang Lin in the forest, but suddenly, a masked man in black quickly flew past in front of him, instantly attracting his attention. He had very good eyesight, and with just a glance, he saw a small black knife engraved on the black clothes of the man in black. When he was 7 or 8 years old, he had witnessed the murder of his parents, so he remembered this mark particularly clearly, which could be said to be unforgettable. One of the purposes for him and Tang Lin to come out this time was to go to the Star Luo Empire, to find out what happened in his family back then. How could he let go of this opportunity now? So he just thought about it for a few seconds, quickly put on his mask and followed quietly. The walking boots on his feet made him extremely fast, and he caught up with the man in black in the blink of an eye. He also learned some hiding techniques from Tang Lin, such as holding his breath and concentrating his breath, but despite this, he did not follow him very closely. If the other party dares to run alone in the Stardow forest, his strength must not be underestimated. If he is not careful, he may not be able to trace it further, and may also bring danger to himself. So while he followed carefully, he was thinking about how he should face it if he was discovered. Maybe the man in black was not as strong as he thought, or maybe he tracked it so perfectly that he chased him for 2 days, even to a town outside the Stardow forest, without being discovered by the man in black. Wang Xiaoshu's mind was extremely delicate. The tracking was so smooth that he became more and more vigilant. However, he had already considered the worst consequences and had thought of a series of countermeasures, so he was still calm. As soon as the man in black entered the town, he came to a restaurant. At this time, the man in black had already taken off his hijab, and his black clothes looked very ordinary. He looked like a normal person who came to the bar to drink. Grown-ups. Well, I finally waited for you. They didn't notice anything, right? At a small wine table in the corner, a man in black was talking in a low voice to a drunken old man. Wang Xiaoshu was very courageous and sat on the table behind the man in black. The two were less than 5 or 6 meters apart, back to back, listening to the whispers of the man in black and the drunkard. Don't worry, sir. I came out with the Zhu family to hunt the soul beasts. They never expected that I would take a detour from the Stardow forest to come here to see you. The man in black said. Yeah, that's good. Tell me how you escaped from the soul masters of the Zhu family. Speaking of which, God help me, there was an arrogant guy in the Zhu family who provoked a bunch of spirit beasts, and all of a sudden he dispersed our group. I took advantage of the chaos and quietly took a detour and ran over, not daring to stay for a moment longer along the waypoint. Those people in the Zhu family now probably think that I was eaten by a soul beast. The man in black was a little proud when he said these words, and seemed to be impressed by his own wit. Wang Xiaoshu finally figured out that the man in black was probably not very smart, but it was just a coincidence that he was not discovered by the Zhu family. Okay, drink. The man in black wanted to ask something else, but he was drunk by this drunkard and couldn't speak clearly. After a while, he was drunk until he was drunk. Wang Xiaoshu followed them to the place where they lived, which was an extremely ordinary small house on the edge of the town. It seemed to fit his status as an alcoholic, but no one could have imagined that a dignified soul master actually lived in this small house. Star Luo Empire, Yiking City. When he first came to this big city, it was bustling with people. Tang Lin didn't know where to look for Wang Xiaoshu, and he didn't know where to start. But he knew that in such a tragedy like this, not only the Wuhan Palace might know the inside story, but also the official people of the Star Luo Empire should also know. That is, the people of the City Lord's mansion. Tang Lin would not be stupid enough to come directly to inquire. After several days of observation, he identified 2 targets. The first one was Tao Yuan, a deacon of Wuhan Palace. This man has been in Wuhan Palace for nearly 10 years. He often goes to places like brothels and restaurants. He is obviously not a determined person. Maybe we can start with him. The other one is Yan Kong, a local official of the empire, who is from the City Lord's mansion. The case also passed through his hands back then, so he must know a lot into the night. Tang Lin sneaked into the brothel and got down to business. Tao Yuan was drinking and flirting with several beautiful women in the room, but he didn't notice that there was an extra man in the room. Tang Lin was wearing a black night suit and a hard-stopping ghost patterned mask, and was quietly hiding in the room. With the art of gathering breath, and hiding like flying to the ground, he didn't worry at all that he would be discovered by a mere deacon like Tao Yuan. After listening for a long time, Tang Lin didn't hear any useful information. It was all about the grandson teasing those women midnight. Several women were drugged and knocked unconscious by Tang Lin. Tang Lin emerged from the darkness. It was time to get down to business. Suddenly, a cold dagger appeared on Tao Yuan's neck. Shh, Deacon Tao, if you want to survive, don't make a sound. Tao Yuan was half drunk and half awake. When the dagger was placed on his neck, he suddenly shivered and felt a chill on his neck. Young hero, if you have something to say, I will treat all these beauties. I gave it all to you. Tang Lin called him Deacon Tao as soon as he spoke, obviously not caring about his identity as the deacon of Wuhan Palace. At this time, he could only think about whether he had stolen this young man's beauty. Maybe he was frightened, and even when he spoke, he started to speak stupidly. Tang Lin grinned. This man was indeed a coward. Don't look back, you really have no chance to survive when you see me like this. Keep these beauties of yours for yourself to enjoy. I just want to ask you one thing. If you want to survive, just tell me. Tang Lin's voice had been changed by the mask. Although he still sounded like a teenager, he no longer had that immature voice. Good talk, good talk. Tang Lin was able to sneak into his room quietly and control him in an instant. He no longer regarded Tang Lin as an ordinary soul master. In his heart, Tang Lin's method made him a professional killer. What these kind of killers do is use people's money to eliminate disasters for others. They don't care who you are, so he knows in his heart that his life depends on Tang Lin's thoughts. Now he has no other choice but to cooperate. Brother, I know it's not easy for you to do this. Just ask whatever you want. As long as I know something, I can tell you everything. I have an 80-year-old mother at home and a half-year-old baby at the bottom. I just ask you not to hurt my life. Chapter 77. Investigate old cases. 2. Qiandao Empire. Outside the Stardao forest, Wang Xiaoshu followed the man in black to their residence. He had been hiding in the dark to observe the old man and the man in black. Nothing unusual happened overnight. It wasn't until daybreak that the man in black woke up and started vomiting. Later, Wang Xiaoshu heard their conversation. Sir, why did you end up like this? The man in black stood up and looked around, shaking his head and sighing. An extremely noble soul master, now turned into a drunkard, and still living in such a dilapidated small house. As a person he had always looked up to and admired before, he felt extremely sad in his heart. Someone in the demonic sword sect wants me dead. What else can I do, except run away and hide? The old man took a sip of ale and smiled. You don't have to do this for me. Everything has a cause and effect. This is my retribution. Wang Xiaoshu, who was hiding in the dark, finally knew what the black knife tattooed on the chests of the men in black represented. It turned out that they were all members of the demonic sword sect. It's just that he couldn't figure it out. In his memory, his family made a living by brewing wine. The people in the family were also a group of great soul masters whose soul power did not exceed level 30, and they never participated in the major family forces. How could a fight involve such a behemoth as the demonic demon sword sect? Are you from the Zhu family? The man in black clenched his fists. No, it's someone directly under your control. The demonic sword sect is a first-class sect, second only to the 7 major sects in Douluo continent in strength. There are many affiliated sects and families within the sect, and the people directly under them are the people of the sect, those whose martial souls are the demonic sword. The man in black had a complicated expression when he heard this. If the affiliated forces within the sect want to kill you, then some say that if the people directly under you want to kill you, then even you really have no choice but to flee. But my lord is loyal to the sect. Why do they want to kill you? The man in black was a little dissatisfied. The old man took another sip of wine, raised his head, and looked into the distance, as if recalling many old events from the past years, and sighed. Because of an old event 4 years ago, it doesn't matter if I don't mention it or not. Hearing this, Wang Xiaoshu suddenly raised his head in the dark. Wasn't the old thing 4 years ago the same thing as the family being wiped out 4 years ago? Who is it? Oops. The impulse just now exposed myself. As for the strength of the man in black, Wang Xiaoshu had roughly guessed that he should be a soul sect, but he didn't know the strength of this old drunkard. He didn't hesitate at all. In an instant, he burst out at his fastest speed and flew towards the town. Now, the town is the safest. Oh. Suddenly, 2 figures behind him rushed towards him one after another. A mere great soul master dares to eavesdrop on our conversation and is looking for death. The man in front was obviously the drunkard old man. Wang Xiaoshu glanced back and couldn't tell that this old man was actually a 6-ring soul emperor. How can the speed of the soul emperor be compared to that of a great soul master? Even with the boots of speed, he was caught up in the blink of an eye. Countless thoughts ran through Wang Xiaoshu's mind. He had already thought of this situation. Fortunately, the other party was just a soul emperor, otherwise he would be really in danger. He immediately used a soul emperor experience card. Oh. Infinite power surged in, and in an instant, his speed accelerated again. Wherever he passed, even the stones on the ground were trampled into pieces. The old man frowned. What's up with this motherfucker? How could a mere 2nd level soul master be so fast? Real or fake? Wang Xiaoshu suddenly made a U-turn in front and ran out of the city. His original plan was to run into the town and hide, and then find a way to get close to the 2 people and investigate more things, such as where his grandfather was and whether he was alive or dead. But he didn't expect that the other party was a soul emperor. After becoming wary, he might have to escape from here in the next moment, so he immediately changed his mind. He also has a Soul Saint experience card in his hand. It's still dark yet, and he wants to lure this person to a deserted place and kill him later. Because judging from what he just said, he has determined that this person is one of the murderers back then, and he will kill him sooner or later. Moreover, he had just known that his enemy was a member of the demonic sword sect. After killing this person, he would go back to Tang Lin and make a long-term plan to find his grandfather and take revenge. In just a moment, he thought of everything. Yiking City, a certain brothel. 4 years ago, a tragedy occurred in Yiking City. Tell me everything you know. Tang Lin said coldly. Oh, little brother, in this Douluo continent where the jungle is strong and the jungle is strong, mass murders happen all the time. There are so many that I can't remember, and these things are not under the control of our spirit hall. You really asked the wrong person. If it were an ordinary family being wiped out, of course I wouldn't ask you, but 4 years ago, the Wang family, a famous brewing family in Yiking City, was wiped out overnight. Even the little brats in the city knew about it. You said you didn't until. I'll give you another chance to reorganize your language. You must think clearly before speaking, otherwise. As he spoke, the dagger in Tang Lin's hand lightly made a gash on his neck, causing blood to flow freely. Wait a minute. I seem to have remembered. No, I really have. Tao Yuan shouted hurriedly. Say it. I really didn't participate in that matter. Oh. So, your spirit hall is also involved. Tao Yuan immediately knew that he had said the wrong thing. Don't worry, I'm not here to seek revenge. I just want to find out this matter. Please explain it to me slowly. Tang Lin snorted coldly. Tao Yuan nodded. The Wang family in Yiking City did not seem to have any background. There had never been a soul master above the soul master in the family. Otherwise, the family would not have been wiped out overnight. Therefore, he believed Tang Lin's words and was not here for revenge. I only know that the genocide of the Wang family 4 years ago seemed to be the intention of the master of the Wuhan Palace, but the strange thing is that none of our Wuhan Palace people participated in it, and only 2 were sent to monitor the matter. As for the rest, I really don't know. Brother, if you do a good job, I will give you these beauties on the ground. Please don't tell others about tonight. You are just a little deacon with a mere soul lord cultivation. How do you know that it is the master of your spirit hall who wants to kill the Wang family? Could it be that this is what he told you? Tang Lin asked. Hehe, of course not. I know it's just because one of the 2 people sent to monitor was my brother-in-law. He was drunk at my house once and accidentally said it. Tao Yuan said with a smile. Then do you know where the wine immortal King Yang Lin is? Tang Lin asked again. Brewmaster? Were they not killed when the family was wiped out? Tang Lin knew that this Tao Yuan was not an important person and his knowledge was limited, but he just came here tonight to try his luck. Before he came, he had no intention of asking anything from him, but now he got so much information from him. If you have more information, you can be considered lucky. Tang Lin slapped him on the back of the head, and he fainted. This man was not a vicious person, nor was he the murderer of the past. He had not even seen his ghost mask. Killing him would only attract the attention of Wuhan Palace, so Tang Lin had no reason to kill him. Next, the most important thing is to ask Yan Kang of the City Lord's mansion. He was responsible for investigating the case back then, so he should know something anyway. Chapter 78. Investigate old cases. 3. Start our great forest. This place is far away from human beings and is a good place to kill people. It is surrounded by trees and has complex terrain, which is the most suitable place for Wang Xiaoshu to display his strength. After running here, Wang Xiaoshu stopped directly. There are about 10 minutes left on the Soul Emperor experience card, just in time to test the strength of this real Soul Emperor. Boy, why don't you keep running? Tell me, why are you eavesdropping on our conversation? Are you someone sent by the demonic sword sect? If you tell me honestly, maybe I can spare your life. The drunkard said. Wang Xiaoshu grinned, his mockery evident in his words. He had long seen that this drunkard had the intention of killing him, so how could he let him go? He also knew that this was not because he eavesdropped on the drunkard's conversation. The real reason might be that the drunkard thought he had a leg bone. After all, the speed of a great soul master can almost rival that of the Soul Emperor. In addition to possessing a leg soul bone with a speed attribute, no one can think of any other reason. Soul bones are what all soul masters dream of. For soul bones, even relatives and friends often commit murder and swindle. Wang Xiaoshu didn't want to waste words with him. After all, the time for the Soul Emperor experience card was limited. The first soul skill, Ivy Binding. The green vines instantly attacked the drunkard from the ground. The drunkard didn't dodge, and there was even a hint of ridicule in the corner of his mouth, because he wanted to see what Wang Xiaoshu, a great soul master, could do to him. A Soul Emperor. The vines instantly bound the drunkard's limbs tightly. He didn't know that, after using the Soul Emperor experience card, Wang Xiaoshu's strength was equivalent to that of a Soul Emperor. Although those vines are still the vines of the first soul ring, they are vastly different from the skills of a century-old soul ring. Wang Xiaoshu shook his hand, and the vines quickly tightened. Crack. What? The drunkard's limbs instantly made a crisp cracking sound, accompanied by the drunkard's scream. The dignified Soul Emperor was injured by Wang Xiaoshu's blow. The drunkard immediately knew something was wrong. How could he dare to look down on Wang Xiaoshu at this moment? He immediately used his fourth soul skill to break free from Wang Xiaoshu's vines with great effort. But just as he broke free, countless vines rushed towards him like a tide from all directions. This scene immediately shocked him. Is this really just a century-old spirit ring technique? Exclamation mark. His whole body was soon wrapped in vines. When he came back to his senses and activated his fourth soul skill again, he found that he could no longer break free. When I wanted to use the fifth and sixth soul skills again, I felt a little powerless. Because of Wang Xiaoshu's second soul skill, entanglement, the toughness of the vines has been raised to another level, while its strength and toxicity have also been greatly increased. During the moment when he was unconscious, the toxin quickly invaded his body again. Even he could not bear the toxin, which made him unable to raise his soul power now. I thought it would be a hard battle, but I didn't expect it to end so quickly. A duel between masters, if you are careless, will lead to death. This made Wang Xiaoshu understand this truth. It's just that Wang Xiaoshu didn't understand. Was it because the drunkard was drunk when he chased him just now, or was he still drunk from last night, so he actually stood still and let him take action from the very beginning? A lion still needs all his strength to fight a rabbit. You are too careless. Wang Xiaoshu shook his head and said solemnly. In such a forest, Wang Xiaoshu is the best place to fight. His strength here is much higher than usual. He wasted so much energy running into this forest because he also did the worst plan. If you can't beat it, you can use the terrain to fight and retreat at the same time. The result is still knoweth. Just using the Soul Emperor experience card is already so powerful. If he uses the Soul Saint experience card, he is even sure to use the first soul skill to directly kill this drunkard. This was the first time he felt the practicality of these experience cards. He didn't know where Tang Lin got these weird things. Anyway, this kid was very mysterious. If I hadn't recovered from mild injuries and the poison of the 10,000-year-old demon spider was still in my body, do you think you could really subdue me so quickly? The drunkard was wrapped in it, and he was a little slurred in speech, but it was obvious that he was not convinced. Wang Xiaoshu took off his mask, controlled the vines to reveal the drunkard's face, and answered the question he just asked. Okay, you really think I only have this little strength? I'm not a member of your demonic sword sect. I just want to ask you a question now. Do you know where the wine immortal King Yang Lin of Yiking City is now? Is he alive or dead? Wang Xiaoshu took off his mask, and his childish face appeared, and his voice also changed greatly, which really made the drunkard sober up. The drunkard rolled his eyes a few times, as if he was thinking, and after a while he said, "Hey, boy, don't you have to questions?" Wang Xiaoshu. I didn't expect that at this time. This drunkard would still be in the mood to joke. What a show. Ahem. Kid, you answer my question first, and I will answer your question after you finish. I still don't understand. You are just a great soul master. How can you be so powerful? Wang Xiaoshu couldn't help but think. Are you kidding me? Am I telling you that this is the power of the Soul Emperor experience card given to me by my brother Tang Lin? You want to delay time? Don't think too much. The strength I showed just now is just the tip of the iceberg. Even if you really have help, it's useless. I want to kill you, just because of my thoughts. The drunkard nodded. Is your surname Wang? Yes. It's really you. Wang Yanglin is probably not dead yet, but I really don't know where he is. The drunkard said. Wang Xiaoshu looked at him deeply. The drunkard said it very sincerely. Moreover, just now, the drunkard was still silently using his soul power to resist his poison, but at this moment, he suddenly gave up the resistance. You know me. Wang Xiaoshu couldn't help but ask, but he was still on guard against him, controlling the toxins to accelerate their intrusion into his body. You eavesdropped on our conversation, and just now you asked about Wang Yanglin, and now you admit that your surname is Wang, and then related to the martial arts you used. You should be the kid who escaped from the Wang family back then, am I right? You sure know me. What happened to the man who took you out back then? He is a Soul King, and he is not from your family, but he didn't expect to be so loyal to your grandfather. He is a man. Uncle. Speaking of the uncle who led him to escape, Wang Xiaoshu's eyes suddenly condensed, and his murderous intent became stronger. Looking at your appearance, that person is dead. What a pity for such a loyal person. The drunkard sighed. I really don't know what adventure you have had. In just 4 years, you have grown from a little kid to such an extent. Wang Xiaoshu met Tang Lin by chance. Why did you want to destroy my whole family back then? Wang Xiaoshu clenched his fist and asked coldly. Since you already know that it's the demonic sword sect, there's no harm in telling you about it. At that time, we were just acting in accordance with the secret orders of the sect master, and even many people in the sect didn't know. As for the reason, I didn't quite understand it at first, but now I kind of understand it. What's the reason? Wang Xiaoshu asked. At that time, the sect master ordered us to kill everyone, except Wang Yanglin and his grandson. Oh, that is you. The sect master may have taken a fancy to your talent, so he wanted to take you under his sect. Wang Xiaoshu couldn't believe it. Could it be that the leader of the demonic sword sect really planned this massacre, just to absorb his so-called genius? In the end, he came forward to save his grandfather and himself, and then found a scapegoat to kill, saying that he was avenging his family, to take revenge, and then let his grandfather teach him to be loyal to the demon-turning sword sect? It all seems reasonable when you think about it. Point starter, could it be that he really killed his entire clan? Suddenly, Wang Xiaoshu was at a loss. He immediately sat down. After a long time, the effectiveness of the Soul Emperor experience card has expired, and the vines and toxins tied to the drunkard's body were greatly weakened in an instant. However, the drunkard did not try to break free. It seemed that he had really given up hope and seemed waiting for Wang Xiaoshu to treat him referee. Until now, the man in black hadn't even caught up. He was just a soul sect, and his speed was naturally far slower than that of the Soul Emperor. At this time, no one knew which country he had gone to. Wang Xiaoshu gradually came back to his senses, because he knows that now is not the time to be sad and discouraged. Grandpa has not been rescued yet, and the great revenge has not been avenged yet. When he looked coldly at the drunkard sighed and said, "Actually, you should be grateful to the Soul King who rescued you when you were able to escape. If he hadn't been here, maybe I would have handed you over to the sect master. So, I want to thank you for letting us go on purpose." Wang Xiaoshu sneered. He knew what the drunkard meant. In front of a Soul Emperor and many powerful men, it is obviously impossible for a Soul King to escape with a 7 or 8-year-old child. However, if he deliberately lets it go, then it seems that a Soul King escapes with a child. It's also possible. I'm not saying this to hope that you will forgive me and let me go. I've been living in a state of confusion these past few years. To be honest, I didn't want to live for a long time. Now I just want you to give me a happy life. Drunkard, he said calmly. PS. Third update. Happy New Year. Chapter 79. Yicking City. You must die. Of course, I won't torture you. I don't have the skills. I will let you die happily, but before you die, I want to know the list of those who went to massacre my Wang family. You probably don't want me to massacre all of you members of the demonic demon sword sect, right? Although I do not have that strength now, you should know that one day I will have that strength in the future. Wang Xiaoshu said. The drunkard nodded. He had no doubt that Wang Xiaoshu would have this ability in the near future, so he said, I should be the only one who was secretly sent to massacre your Wang family back then. Most of the other people are very powerful. Their status is low, and in the past few years, almost all of them have been eliminated by the sect leader through various means. Wang Xiaoshu was silent for a moment. Although the drunkard was sincere and his words did have some credibility, he would not completely believe the drunkard's words. Maybe the drunkard wanted to protect those people. Last question. Why did you disobey your sect master and let us leave on purpose? Wang Xiaoshu said. Well, maybe it's because my conscience discovered it at that time, or maybe it's because I like to drink the wine you brewed, or maybe there's something wrong with my brain. Who knows? The drunkard said with a helpless smile. Wang Xiaoshu nodded and put on the mask again. Your poison has penetrated deep into your internal organs, and it is difficult for gods to save you. Just wish yourself good luck. If you can survive, it will be your life. The drunkard already had the will to die. Just now he failed to resist the poison released by Wang Xiaoshu. Now he is beyond the reach of immortality. He will gradually fall into coma and then die unconsciously. So Wang Xiaoshu is too lazy to take action. After all, he is only a 12-year-old child now. After saying that, Wang Xiaoshu turned around and ran towards the Star Forest. Yicking City. After 1 month, Tang Lin had investigated everything that happened 4 years ago. The matter started with Li Zuhu, the master of Wuhan Palace, and the one who took action personally was the first class sect, demonic sword sect, and the Star Luo Empire might also be involved. As for why they wanted to destroy the Wang family, capture Wang Xiaoshu, and whether Wang Xiaoshu's grandfather was dead or alive, I'm afraid only Li Zuhu, the master of Wuhan Hall, and Ni Yuan, the master of the demonic sword sect, knew these. But these two people are not easy to mess with. Fortunately for Li Zuhu, with the Soul Emperor's strength, almost all of his subordinates were below the Soul Emperor's strength. After killing it, just escape from Yiking City. But Ni Yuan is a bit difficult to handle. The 87 level 8 ring attack type Soul Douluo is said to be a bit more powerful than the Celestial Elephant Yanbi. His strength cannot be underestimated, and he has the entire sect behind him. Even how to get close to him is a problem now. Still too weak. In the past few years, Tang Lin had only used box energy to draw the Eternal Diamond level 3 times, but he only got one contract experience card. To be honest, even if he uses this contract experience card, he can't guarantee that he can outperform Ni Yuan. If he accidentally gets stuck here, the gain will outweigh the loss. Therefore, these matters must be discussed in the long term, and they must wait until Wang Xiaoshu comes to discuss them together. After all, this is the great hatred that caused his entire family to be wiped out. As time goes by, a recent incident in Yiking City has become a topic of conversation among people in private. It is said that there is an extremely wealthy young man in the city who is very familiar with the Deacon of Wuhan Palace. Every day, the two of them come to the Loy Tavern on time to drink, and they also threaten that if anyone can produce a peerless wine, he is willing to spend thousands of dollars to buy a cup. So many people lined up at the door of the tavern with the wines they thought were the best, waiting for him to appear. If he thought the wine tasted good, he would reward him with a lot of money. This person is naturally Tang Lin. He did this just to let Wang Xiaoshu know that he was here in the big city of Nuoda. There is a deacon from Wuhan Palace next to him, who dares to CK and take action against him. Calculating the time, it was more than a month ago. He felt that Wang Xiaoshu should have arrived in Yiking City by now, so he took Deacon Tao Yuan to the tavern to drink every day. Tao Yuan is also a person who lives a more realistic life. If a rich man pays him to taste fine wine every day, of course he would be happy. It's a pity that he still doesn't know that the boy next to him is the one who threatened him with a knife that night. In 1 month, Wang Xiaoshu has survived his third soul ring in the Stardao Forest and has arrived in Yiking City safely. On the second day after arriving, he heard about the rich second generation spending money to buy fine wine. He immediately knew it was Tang Lin, so he went to the tavern and saw Tang Lin as expected. Wang Xiaoshu waited until Tang Lin finished drinking and returned to the hotel before he came and knocked on the door. "Oh, you're not dead. Why didn't you leave me a message before you left?" Tang Lin said angrily when he saw Wang Xiaoshu. After entering the door, Wang Xiaoshu said, "In urgent matters, I would like to ask you to come to Yiking City to check first. You are so smart, how could you not know what I mean? Tell me why you left so suddenly." I met a man in black who was the same as before. He was an agility-based soul master, and his detection ability was not weak, so I quickly followed him. Fortunately, I found out what happened back then. He was a top-ranking force in the Star Luo Empire. It was done by people from the demonic sword sect. It's just that we don't know about Grandpa's situation yet. Wang Xiaoshu sat down and drank a glass of water and said. Tang Lin patted his shoulder and said, "It's okay. Your grandfather should still be alive." Tang Lin had already guessed that if Grandpa Wang Xiaoshu died, what would these people gain by killing his family? I also hope that's the case. Otherwise, I will definitely cleanse the demon sword sect with blood. Wang Xiaoshu said angrily. "Have you found any other clues?" Wang Xiaoshu shook his head. "No. What about you? What have you checked in a month?" Tang Lin told everything he had found out. The more Wang Xiaoshu listened, the more frightened he became. Unexpectedly, Wu Hundian was actually the mastermind, and this matter might also involve the Star Luo Empire. He suddenly felt insignificant and powerless. "It's okay, don't be afraid, even if it's the Wuhan Palace. The most important thing now is how to rescue your grandfather." As for revenge, we still have to wait until we become stronger, and then we can settle the accounts with them when we come back. Tang Lin comforted. In Tang Lin's eyes, the biggest difficulty now is the demon killing sword sect, while in Wang Xiaoshu's eyes, the demon killing sword sect is a trivial matter, and he can easily destroy it when he becomes a titled Douluo. But the Spirit Hall and the Star Luo Empire, to him, they are huge things that cannot be climbed and can only be looked up at. Martial Spirit Hall, Martial Spirit Hall. Wang Xiaoshu said nan to himself. If the mastermind is really Wu Hundian, what will happen, even if he really becomes a titled Douluo one day? In front of the Wuhan Palace, what can a titled Douluo do? When Tang Lin saw something was wrong with Wang Xiaoshu, he immediately patted him on the shoulder and said, "Xiaoshu, you still have me." Hearing Tang Lin's words, Wang Xiaoshu suddenly woke up. "Yes, I also have a brother Tang Lin. I'm not alone." Tang Lin said there was no need to be afraid of Wuhan Palace. If someone else had said that, he would have taken it as a joke, but when it came from Tang Lin's mouth, it was different. Maybe there really is such a day! Exclamation mark. Wang Xiaoshu suddenly gained some confidence again. "Just have a good rest tonight. We will discuss how to find out about your grandfather tomorrow." Chapter 80. Supreme Dragon Pattern Card. The next day, a touch of fish belly white just appeared in the east. Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu had already gotten up and started practicing. In any case, one's own strength is fundamental. After practicing for a full 2 hours, they stopped to eat breakfast. Of course, they ate delicious animal meat cooked in Tang Lin's pan. After the meal, Wang Xiaoshu asked Tang Lin, "What should we do next?" "I don't know since when." Wang Xiaoshu has regarded Tang Lin as his backbone. He will ask Tang Lin's opinion on everything, even if he feels that he is smarter than Tang Lin. "I thought about it last night, and now your grandfather's whereabouts are most likely in the hands of the Wuhan Palace. The Demon Sword sect should have attached themselves to the Wuhan Palace to do things for the Wuhan Palace," Tang Lin said. Wang Xiaoshu nodded in agreement. Tang Lin continued his analysis. "It's just that we don't know yet whether your grandfather is in the hands of Li Zuhu, the master of the Wuhan main palace in Yiking City, or in the hands of the Pope of the Wuhan Palace. If it is in the hands of Li Zuhu, it will be easy to handle. Let's find a dark and windy night to sneak in quietly and control him, and then we can rescue your grandfather. What if it's in the hands of the Pope? Well, I think this possibility is unlikely. What is the identity of the Pope? Why did he arrest your grandfather? But if it is really the Pope, then we can only wait until we are strong enough to find a solution." Silence. The two fell into silence for a moment. Although Wang Xiaoshu also knew that the possibility of his grandfather being in the hands of the Pope of Wuhan Palace was very slim. It could almost be said to be extremely slim, but for some reason, he always felt a little uneasy in his heart. Even Tang Lin is like this. Tang Lin added, "It's useless to say more. After all, Li Zuhu is just a Soul Emperor, and the two of us can completely handle it. Over the past month, I have also found out that he is now the highest combat power in the Soul Lord Palace. Just in case, we will first check if there are any other masters in the Wuhan Lord Hall, and then go to an auction tonight. Li Zuhu will also come. After the auction is over, we will quietly follow him. Take action to control him when there is no one around, and then go to Wuhan Palace to rescue your grandfather. It's that simple." Haha, this is really a perfect plan. Wang Xiaoshu was speechless, turned around and rolled his eyes at Tang Lin. Night. Auction house. Tang and Lin appeared at the door of the auction house as planned. Point after all, Tang Lin's appearance was unusual. The young lady at the door came forward to greet him happily. As soon as he saw it, "Two brothers, do you have a VIP card or invitation letter?" The auction house is a place that only wealthy people can enter and exit, and it is not a place that ordinary people can enter at will. And usually you have to rely on status symbols such as VIP cards and invitations to enter, and you have to bring valuable things to auction before you can enter. Wang Xiaoshu immediately looked at Tang Lin, thinking that Tang Lin should have already prepared for this kind of thing. But Tang Lin's face immediately turned red and he whispered, "Well, this really hasn't happened." Flender usually leads the way in and out of the Soto auction house. Where has he ever noticed such a thing? And he didn't want to auction those things here unless he had to. Hahaha. To country bumpkins. Do you think they can enter a place like this just by wearing new clothes? How ridiculous. This kind of place is not for people like you, understand? A young man in his 20s mocked next to him. His voice was deliberately amplified so that everyone around him could hear it clearly, as if he was deliberately making people look bad to show off his rich and handsome image. Tang Lin frowned at that time. It's been a long time since I've met such a lackluster young man. This guy's definitely jealous that I'm more handsome than him. Ouch. Who is this handsome guy? Your quality is really unparalleled. It's beyond our reach. Tang Lin looked over and said with a smile. For a moment, the people around him were covered in laughter. The young man suddenly became angry and said gloomily, "Are you mocking me?" Tang Lin raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Oh my, I didn't expect that this young master is not only extremely qualified, but also extremely intelligent. You can even see this. I admire you. Since this month, Tang Lin has clearly identified the people in Yiking City who he cannot offend or provoke, and has even made a list. But the brat in front of him is obviously not among them, so what is there to worry about? This kind of person must be taught a lesson. Some of the people next to me were already laughing. The young man suddenly blushed and regretted why he had provoked this boy with such a sharp mouth. It happened that this was a public place, and he didn't dare to have an attack. After all, he was considered a person of some status. It didn't matter if he was embarrassed. If it got bigger, it would affect more than just himself. So he felt extremely aggrieved at the moment and glanced at Tang Lin hatefully, as if he wanted to remember Tang Lin's appearance so that he could settle accounts with him in the future. After snorting coldly, he turned around, took out a silver white VIP card, and stepped into the auction house. He didn't forget to look back at Tang Lin before walking in proudly. Tang Lin immediately lost interest. How could this man endure it like this? I thought I could use my hands to hit him with a few pots. Then he took out a golden card engraved with a dragon pattern and handed it to the waiter in front of him. He smiled and said, "Miss, can I enter if I have this?" "Hiss, this is the Supreme Dragon Mark card." The young lady immediately exclaimed. It wasn't that she had never seen such a card before, but she had never seen a child of such an age holding such a card. When she exclaimed, everyone around her looked over, including the highly qualified young man who was about to walk in just now and looked back. Everyone had a look of disbelief in their eyes. Tang Lin touched his head. To be honest, he didn't like being looked at by so many people. It was all his fault that this young lady was making such a fuss, as if she had never seen the world before. Yes, of course. Two young masters, you will have a unique and exclusive VIP room. Please come with me. Supreme Dragon Pattern card. Not only does it mean that your assets exceed tens of millions, but it also means that your status is extraordinary. Not everyone can have this. Even people like the City Lord and the Lord of the Spirit Hall will not have this kind of VIP card. If they don't have enough assets, even they would show courtesy to someone with such a VIP card. The young man lowered his head silently, feeling ashamed. Just now, I actually said that a person with a Supreme Dragon Mark card is a country bumpkin? Oh my god, am I crazy? Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu were quickly taken to an extremely spacious VIP room by the young lady. All the furnishings in the room were extremely high-end. He didn't expect that the card in his hand would be so effective. This was a card Liang Shen gave him originally, and he didn't pay much attention to it at that time. However, this Yiking auction house is much worse than Sotoa auction house. All the way in, whether it is facilities, management, layout, etc., it is far inferior to Sotoa auction house. Ahem. Cough. Cough. Weren't we too high profile just now? Tang Lin turned around and asked. You stole the show, but is this really good? Wang Xiaoshu asked worriedly. Actually, this was not my intention. Forget it. Why do he care so much? It's better to live a more comfortable life. Don't worry about this and that all day long. When the soldiers come, the water will come and the earth will cover it up. Don't worry. Tang Lin crossed his legs and took a sip of expensive tea. Since the matter has already happened, there is no point in thinking about it. It is better to quietly enjoy this wonderful moment. Wang Xiaoshu looked over and looked like what you said made sense. For a moment, he was speechless. Chapter 81. Mermaid. The evening auction is much more lively than the daytime auction point. The flow of people inside is just like on the street, with people entering or leaving all the time. Before coming here, Tang Lin had already found out that Li Zuhu, the master of the Wuhan main hall, would definitely attend tonight's auction, because he had his eye on one of the finale items tonight. After coming here for a month, Tang Lin found out nothing more about Li Zuhu except for this useful information. Of course, he had never seen him. According to the Deacon Tao Yuan, the palace master was practicing in seclusion. No one knows where it is. But tonight, a mermaid appeared, and I don't know why. The tracking and sneak attack method Tang Lin mentioned before was obviously not very reliable point. Before dealing with a person, you must try to understand him first, and then attack his weaknesses. This is the so-called knowing yourself and the enemy. So to be on the safe side, they decided to try to understand what kind of person this palace master was first. Point otherwise, even if you control him, what if he would rather die than give in, but still refuses to reveal the information about Grandpa Xiaoshu? Time flickered, and 2 hours passed. They didn't need, or like the things taken below at all. Wang Xiaoshu got a little bored waiting and asked, did we come too early? It should be here soon. Look below. A good weapon happened to be knocked off from below, and then more than 20 people carried up a big box covered by red cloth. The auctioneer was dressed very formally. No matter what the scene was, he always had a friendly smile. After the big box was brought up, he started his performance again. Next, everyone needs to pay attention, especially the male VIPs present, because this is a rare and exquisite piece. He said, putting his hand on the red cloth without opening it. Yes, this is what we are going to do today. One of the evening's grand finale. The starting price alone is gold soul coins, and every increase in price must not be less than gold soul coins. You might as well guess what this is. Boom. There was an uproar in the audience. What on earth was it? The starting price alone was 100,000 gold soul coins. For a moment, all eyes were attracted to him. This auctioneer is really good at it. Tang Lin raised his lips. Xiaoshu, this is probably what Li Zuhu is interested in. What the hell? This auction house is too exaggerated. It requires more than 20 strong men to carry it up. Tang Lin, what are you going to do? Of course it goes to the highest bidder. Tang Lin said with a smile. You can just sit inside wearing a mask later. Since I already made a splash at the door just now, I don't mind making another appearance now. Wang Xiaoshu nodded. He knew that, since he had been noticed just now, he might as well act openly now. And since Tang Lin wants to bid with Li Zuhu, he will inevitably offend him. After all, he has lived in Yiking City for 7 or 8 years. Although he is much taller now, he is still somewhat similar to that time, so it's better to show less face. Can you guess what's inside now? The auctioneer looked at the distinguished guests meaningfully. After looking around, he decisively lifted the red cloth and revealed the things inside. The red cloth wrapped in a water cage is surrounded by large transparent glass, and it is filled with water. The most bizarre thing is, there is an extremely scantily clad girl in the water. To be precise, she is not a normal girl, because her upper body is human. Her chest is covered by a few fish scales, and her lower body looks like a fishtail. This is a mermaid. The girl was extremely fair and delicate, extremely cute and beautiful. Not to mention the people present. Even Tang Lin was stunned. Wang Xiaoshu took off his mask and stared straight at her. Everyone was extremely shocked, and at the same time they were also guessing whether this was a human or a spirit beast. Hall master. Well, I see it. A deep voice came from a VIP room on the 2nd floor, and then a middle-aged man with a beard on his face slowly walked out. He looked extremely mature and somewhat good-looking. This is the master of the Martial Soul Main Hall in Yiking City in the 6th ring attack type battle Soul Emperor Li Zuhu. When he saw the human fish in the water, there was a hint of excitement on his face. Everyone, be quiet. Listen to me. I know what everyone is thinking right now, and I can tell you clearly that this girl is not a spirit beast, but a real human being. It's just that her martial spirit mutated, so she became like this. The auctioneer meant he said profoundly, "It's strange to say that this girl is no different from ordinary people when she is on land, but once she is in the water, she will appear like she is now." Wow. Everyone was amazed. They have also heard that some people's bodies have mutated due to the mutation of their martial souls, and they have turned into cat women, tigers, etc. But they have never heard of mermaids, let alone seen them. Everyone's eyes were wide open, and they were gearing up, and some who didn't pay attention to their image even smacked their lips, as if they had seen something delicious. "I'll pay 11 million. Brother Ziyang, you already have several wives, but you're still so greedy. Ha ha ha, I'll pay you 12. 13 million. 15 million. Seeing these individuals rushing forward to bid, the ladies looked disgusted, and some even dragged their husbands away. But there are still many people participating in the bidding. Soon, the bidding reached 23. Just to buy a good looking and special girl, 10,000 plus gold soul coins is already considered a high price. At this point, many people just give up, because they know it's not worth it, and they don't have the strength to squander it like this. The scene gradually cooled down. There are only a few people bidding below. Tang Lin upstairs was still holding a teacup, pretending to be mature, and sipping tea. He is not a saint. Although he hates this kind of thing, he knows that there is nothing he can do to stop it. Li Zu, who hasn't moved yet, maybe this is not what he likes. Maybe it's not time for him to appear yet. Li Zu, who was enjoying tea in the VIP room upstairs. Suddenly, he put down the teacup in his hand, slowly opened the curtain and stepped forward. Just when he was about to bid, a handsome young man suddenly came out of a VIP room nearby and shouted, "I want this mermaid from the City Lord's palace, and I'll bid 30. Tang Lin put down the teacup. Why does this voice sound familiar? Then he slowly walked out, and saw that it was the young man he met at the door before. So he is from the City Lord's mansion? Wang Xiaoshu put on a mask, and appeared behind Tang Lin. Then this mermaid may fall into his hands. Xiaoshu, I know you want to save her, but it's useless. I can also tell you clearly that on Douluo continent, there are many such auctions of beautiful servants. We currently have no ability to control it, and we can't manage it," Tang Lin said. Tang Lin knew that Wang Xiaoshu's situation made him feel compassion for these people in trouble. Wang Xiaoshu sighed helplessly. Tang Lin was right. Not everyone was as lucky as him. If he hadn't met Tang Lin and his son back then, he would definitely have been captured by those men in black. Tang Lin grinned. "You are still so serious. Although we say we can't control that much, now that we have seen her, how can we ignore her? Besides, this is such a beautiful and lovely young lady, don't you think so? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. Get the Mermaid. When they heard that the person who claimed to be the City Lord's mansion had bid for 30 gold soul coins at one price, many people immediately became dumbfounded. One is because there is no need to spend so much money on a mermaid woman, and the other is there is no need to offend the people in the City Lord's palace. Tang Lin snapped his fingers, and a waiter came over with his head lowered. "Miss, can you tell me the identity of this young master? He is the son of the City Lord, Gu Yuan." Li Zu, who immediately turned around and looked at him coldly. It turns out that it's old guy Gumi's worthless son who is actually willing to spend 30 yuan to buy a mermaid. He is indeed a prodigal son. Li Zu, who came here today just for this mermaid. Even if the City Lord himself was here, Li Zu, who would not give him a good look, let alone his incompetent son. Li Zu, who coughed lightly and was about to bid when he heard another voice. 40 million. This voice was slightly childish, breaking the moment of silence on the field, and everyone looked over. They thought that no one would spend more money to take pictures of this mermaid without offending the City Lord's palace point. But I didn't expect that there really was such a person. People who came over were inevitably a little curious. Of course, some people wanted to see how Tang Lin and Gu Yuan would end up, as if they were watching a good show. Gu Yuan also looked at Tang Lin angrily, but when he saw Tang Lin, his face twitched slightly. In his eyes, Tang Lin, who had the Supreme Dragon Mark card, must have a not simple identity, and now it was revealed. If you dare not give him the face of a city lord's mansion, then what is Tang Lin's background? He began to feel a little confused. 40. Don't say he doesn't have the money. Even if he did, he wouldn't dare, and wouldn't be willing to part with it. I thought I could get this rare woman in the world, but I didn't expect to lose face again, and this time it was the face of a city lord's palace. Although he was gnashing his teeth with hatred towards Tang Lin in his heart, his face did not show it immediately. Instead, he held his hand and said to Tang Lin, "The bidding is for the highest bidder. I was just talking nonsense. I quit." Tang Lin nodded slightly. 40 million once. Is there anyone else bidding? The auctioneer on the stage shouted. He was already very happy that he could get 40 yuan. Li Zuhu narrowed his eyes slightly. He knew Gu Yuan, but he had never heard of Tang Lin. How could a man of 11 or 12 years old be able to pay so much money? Two people who were both children in his eyes actually wanted to get the mermaid he regarded as his prize. He was slightly angry in his heart and said in a deep voice, "Martial Soul Palace offers 42 yuan. Li Zuhu bid, and Tang Lin suddenly felt happy. Then he said in a very casual voice, 50. It was as if the 50 gold soul coins were not money at all in his eyes, but a piece of mathematics. People in the auction house all looked at the two people upstairs. One was the master of Wuhan Palace. To them, he was someone they could not offend even if they died. One is Tang Lin, who seems to be a silly boy who develops quickly, but his identity is mysterious. This mermaid was obviously not worth so much money. They couldn't figure out why even the master of Wuhan Palace was interested in her. Moreover, it was too blatant to bring Wuhan Palace out at this opening, and he was not afraid of being gossiped about Wuhan Palace. Gradually, the people below began to recognize Tang Lin. Although they did not know his name, they knew that he owned a Supreme Dragon pattern card. When they thought about Tang Lin's current age, they instantly knew that Tang Lin's status and background were unknown generally. "How's it going? Did you find anything?" "Palace Master, that boy's name is Lin Tang. He just appeared in Yiking City recently. He has a good relationship with a deacon named Tao Yuan in our Wuhan Palace. In the past few days, this boy has been spending a lot of money on fine wine in the tavern." One of his subordinates knelt on one knee and said in detail, "And when we entered the auction house, we had a little conflict with Gu Yuan, so we also know that he also has a Supreme Dragon pattern card." As early as when Tang Lin dared to openly bid against Gu Yuan without giving any face to the city lord's palace, Li Zuhu had sent someone down to inquire about information about Tang Lin. Supreme Dragon Mark card? It's interesting. Li Zuhu nodded and thought. Gu Yuan did not expect that even the master of Wuhan Palace would fall in love with this mermaid. He looked at Tang Lin with a playful expression. Now it was fun. Wuhan Palace was something that even his city lord's palace did not dare to provoke easily. He wanted to see if Tang Lin dared to challenge Wuhan Palace. Tang Lin doesn't care about that much. His current monthly income is at least 1 million gold soul coins, so this amount of money is really a drop in the bucket for him. As for the Wuhan Palace, he was here to trouble Li Zuhu, and the Wuhan Palace would not openly embarrass his child, right? 50 million. Tang Lin's unceremonious bid did not give Wuhan Palace any face. Now, even the auctioneer was a little embarrassed. Gu Yuan was also extremely surprised in his heart, thinking that this kid must be crazy. How dare he challenge Wuhan Palace after his face was revealed? "Palace Master, do you want it?" A subordinate next to Li Zuhu gestured with his hand on his neck and said. Li Zuhu shook his head. "No need. Just give this girl to this boy. Although it's embarrassing, we have to admit that our money is indeed not as much as his. The so-called money means being willful." Tang Lin was not surprised when Li Zuhu stopped bidding. After all, 50 gold soul coins was not a small amount. And this woman may not be Li Zuhu's girl tonight. "Xiaolin, are you planning to bid with Li Zuhu, the master of Wuhan Palace, for taking action?" Wang Xiaoshu asked. Tang Lin shook his head. "That's not entirely true. I have to bid on all the next lots. As long as what Li Zuhu wants is in our hands, he will come to us." Tang Lin became famous overnight. From then on, all the respectable people in Yiking City knew that there was a boy named Lin Tang who was fearless, not to mention rich, and had a mysterious background. He did not even want to sell the face of the city lord's mansion or Wuhan Hall. Back at his residence, Wang Xiaoshu asked, "Miss, what's your name?" This girl, who was 17 or 18 years old, was well behaved and beautiful. She became a normal person after leaving the water prison. She had put on a set of beautiful clothes and was standing behind the two of them obediently. "My name is Sukayang. Then we will call you Sister Sukayang from now on. Don't be afraid. Just tell us where your home is and we will ask someone to take you back." Wang Xiaoshu said. "Well, that's right." Tang Lin also nodded. Really? Sukayang opened her eyes wide and said. Inside the spirit hall, before Izuhu returned to Wuhan Hall, he had sent someone to keep an eye on Tang Lin secretly. After all, the mermaid he was interested in had been photographed by Tang Lin. "Hellmaster, what shall we do now? After all, it took us a long time to find out about that mermaid. Her martial soul mutation is most likely related to the Jiu Zan's adventure. Now that Wang Yanglin is silent, we finally found such a little clue. It's okay. As long as they are still in Yiking City and within our sphere of influence, there is no need to worry about this. Go and call Tao Yuan over. I want to ask him about this guy Lin Tang first." Li Zuhu said in a deep voice. "Yes, Hall Master." Chapter 83. Invite to a restaurant. After a short communication and understanding, only then did Wang Xiaoshu of Tang Lin know that, although mermaid Sukayang had some soul power, she didn't even have a soul ring. She was just an ordinary person. It was only because the martial soul mutated when she awakened that she encountered it. The water turns into a mermaid. Originally, she just lived with her tribe on an island in the sea. It wasn't until she came to play in a city on the mainland near the sea some time ago that she was accidentally discovered. Then she was caught by the Soul Masters until she met Tang Lin. Two people. I didn't expect you to be a sea soul master living in the sea. It's a pity that we have things to do now. Otherwise, I could send you there in person and take a look at the sea." Tang Lin said with a smile. After coming to Douluo continent for so many years, Tang Lin has never been to the sea. This is the first time he has encountered a sea soul master, and she is not a real sea soul master yet. But now many people know that you have been bought by us. I'm afraid it's not safe for you to leave now. If you don't mind, you can stay for a few days and wait until the news is over before leaving. Maybe then we can really. I'm taking you home." Wang Xiaoshu said. "Thank you two young masters. The two young masters have saved my life. I'm willing to follow their arrangements," Sukayang said. She was happy to hear Tang and Lin say that they could leave at any time, but she was also afraid when Wang Xiaoshu said that it might not be safe to leave now. Now, only by following Tang Lin and the two of them, she felt a little relied on and a little safe. "Hey, I've never even heard of Sea Soul Masters. Can you tell me about the Sea Soul Masters over there? Are there many people like you who can transform when they encounter water?" Wang Xiaoshu has long wanted to know more about her, so he asked curiously. Sukayang lowered her head shyly, not knowing how to reply. Maybe not everyone is like me. In fact, even she herself didn't know anything about Soul Masters or Sea Soul Masters, but one thing she was sure of was that she was a special case like this, so she was different from other children. Even though she lived on the sea, she rarely went into the water and exposed herself. Mermaid appearance. Don't embarrass Miss Sukayang. Sea Soul Masters are actually not much different from our Soul Masters on land. It's just that most of their martial souls are creatures in the sea. There should only be a very small number like Sister Sukayang. Tang Lin laughed. There are only a few people whose martial souls have mutated, and those whose bodies have also changed due to the mutating martial souls are even rarer among the minorities. Tang Lin couldn't see it, and Wang Xiaoshu couldn't have thought of this. He just wanted to say a few more words to this young lady, but now Sukayang was obviously too frightened, and even spoke with a slight tremor. It was really not appropriate to ask her any more questions. Sister Sukayang is probably tired now. The room we just opened for you is next door. You can go and rest first. If you have anything to say, tell us. Wuhan Temple. Li Zuhu summoned Tao Yuan, and Tao Yuan was flattered. He also heard something about the evening auction before he came, and he knew in his heart that the palace master should be looking for him because of Lin Tang. As expected, when the palace master came up and asked, he told him honestly and in detail, even the details, how he met Lin Tang by chance, and how he became drinking buddies with him. After listening over and over again, Li Zuhu didn't hear even a single useful word, so he didn't bother to chat with him, and just asked him to ask Lin Tang out for a drink in a restaurant on the pretext of finding rare wine. The next day in the hotel, Tang and Lin have received Tao Yuan's invitation. It's okay if he invites you out for a drink. I didn't expect him to want you to take Sister Sukayang to show him. Really, you're such a pervert. Wang Xiaoshu said, immediately displeased. I said, you don't have to be so reactive, right? Could it be TSK? I didn't expect that at such a young age. You would actually. Tang Lin looked at him meaningfully with his eyes, and his tone of voice was also meaningful. Everyone knows you're 17 or 18 years old, and you're only 12 years old. A brother-sister relationship? That's too ridiculous for you. What are you talking about? Look, you feel guilty. Look, you're blushing. Tang Lin teased. Wang Xiaoshu immediately rode on Tang Lin, and countless vines were pointed directly at Tang Lin. If you talk nonsense again, I won't be polite. Okay, I won't say anything anymore. Although it is true that Tao Yuan is a pervert, I feel that this is probably the intention of the master of Wuhan Hall. Otherwise, how could Tao Yuan know where you live? It seems that this master of the hall is really. I have taken a liking to Sister Sukayang. Wang Xiaoshu put away the vines and said seriously, well, that's right. Just from looking at him last night, he shouldn't be a lustful person. I really don't know what about Miss Sukayang attracts him. This happened last night. I asked Tao Yuan to send someone to make an appointment with me early this morning. The palace master must have been too impatient. Why do I always feel that this matter is not that simple? Tang Lin said. Then what are you going to do? Should we take Sister Sukayang with us? Wang Xiaoshu asked. Us? Tang Lin turned around and asked curiously, who said I would take you there? Stop. Don't say it yet. Listen to me. No matter what I say this time, you better not go. Although Tao Yuan invited me, maybe Li Zuhu will really come. If you are here, as long as you treat him a little bit, if we show even a little bit of murderous intent, our plan will be ruined, Tang Lin said. Wang Xiaoshu was speechless. Li Zuhu was a real soul emperor. If he had even the slightest intention to kill him when they met, he would probably notice it. As for Miss Sukayang, I'd better ask her opinion first, whether to go or not. If she really doesn't want to go, I won't force her. But I still hope she can go with me. Maybe I can take the opportunity to find out something from it, Tang Lin said. Wang Xiaoshu nodded. If he could take Sukayang with him and meet Li Zuhu again, he might be able to find out something from it. But these are secondary. The most important thing is to get some clues from him, so that he can find out what Grandpa is whereabouts. Lingfeng Tavern. The most famous tavern in Yiqing City at present. The specifications are grand and elegant, and there are many famous wines. Tang Lin and Sukayang arrived at the appointment on time. Sukayang is 1.7 meters tall, a head taller than Tang Lin. Standing next to Tang Lin, the two of them look like a pair of siblings. Following the waiter to the private room on the third floor, there was only a slightly fat middle-aged man inside. This was Tao Yuan, the deacon of Wuhan Hall. To Tang Lin's surprise, the master of the hall was not there. Deacon Tao. Oh, little brother Lin, you are finally here. Yesterday I found a pot of excellent wine. I remembered you, and sent someone to invite you to come and taste it today. Seeing Tang Lin coming, Tao Yuan quickly got up, took Tang Lin's hand, and walked to the wine table, not forgetting to glance at Sukayang during the process. The title of Tang Lin also changed from Lin Xiaozi to Lin Xiao brother. After last night, he already knew that Tang Lin's identity and background were extremely mysterious and unusual. He knew Tang Lin was a rich man before, but he didn't expect him to be so rich. Moreover, he didn't even sell the face of the city lord's mansion and the palace master. Now that he saw Tang Lin again, his mentality was not as relaxed as before. Chapter 84. The lord of the palace is here. Deacon Tao is so polite. Let me introduce her. Her name is Sukayang, and she is now my friend. This is Deacon Tao from Wuhan Palace. Like me, she loves fine wines, so we are quite compatible. Tang Lin said. Deacon Tao is polite. Sukayang lowered her head and said, ha ha ha, since you are little brother's friend, you are also my friend. You're welcome. Tao Yuan said with a smile. Seeing that Tao Yuan was always staring at Sukayang, Tang Lin coughed a few times and said, Deacon Tao, I don't know what kind of wine this is. I can smell the aroma from outside the door. Although Tang Lin usually doesn't like drinking, after practicing with Wang Xiaoshu in the past few years, he has learned to drink. After all, drinking Wang Xiaoshu's wine has a lot of benefits for their cultivation. This made him more sensitive to the smell and taste of wine. The tavern was full of wine, but just now he smelled a different aroma of wine at the door of this elegant room. Although this is just ordinary ale, it was brewed by the wine fairy King Yanglin. I know you like fine wine, so I spent a lot of effort to get a bottle like this. Tao Yuan said. Hearing the word Jiuxin, Tang Lin's eyes flashed with surprise, then he smiled and said, how can I be so embarrassed about such a precious wine? Hey, little brother Lin, don't be polite to me. You've been the one buying me drinks lately. I'm just going to buy you a drink this time. It's no big deal. Tao Yuan said with a smile. You were at the auction last night. You stole the limelight and didn't even give us the face of Wuhan Palace. It's my honor to know you, / we're. To be honest, after getting along with him for this period of time, although I know that Tao Yuan is not a bad person, I still feel a little disgusted when talking to him as a brother-in-law. If I don't need to use him, Sukayang's squinting eyes are just based on him. The look in his eyes made Tang Lin want to go up and beat him up. I heard that the Jiu Zan's family was killed 4 years ago. I didn't expect that Deacon Tao could still find the ale he brewed. Tang Lin asked, pretending to be curious. Actually, this kind of wine is now top quality and is extremely precious, no matter where it is. This bottle was given by the master of our Wuhan Palace. Oh. The palace master gave it to Deacon Tao? The relationship between Deacon Tao and the palace master is really extraordinary. Tang Lin said with a smile. No, thanks to you, little brother Lin. Tao Yuan shook his head and sighed. Thanks to me. I don't even know the master of your Wuhan Palace. Tang Lin said. Don't you know? The person who participated in the auction last night is the master of our Wuhan Palace. He knows that I know you, and that you love fine wine, so he rewarded me with a bottle. Tao Yuan explained. Oh, it turns out that the person who said he was bidding on behalf of Wuhan Palace last night is your palace master. It's really disrespectful. If I knew that he was the master of your Wuhan Palace, I would never dare to bid with him. Tang Lin said with a regretful look. It's okay. In the eyes of our palace master, little brother Lin is just a child. He won't care about you, otherwise he wouldn't give me this wine. Tao Yuan said. I hope so. Tang Lin nodded. After not seeing Li Zuhu for so long, Tang Lin was a little confused. Could it be that the master of the palace really wouldn't come? Then today is really in vain. Just now, a steady and powerful voice came from outside the door. Ha 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 ha. In the auction, everyone relies on their ability, and the one with the highest price will get it. Of course, I, the majestic master of Wuhan Palace, will not bear a grudge against you. Li Zuhu, here we come. Palace master. Tao Yuan stood up immediately and said respectfully, judging from his slightly surprised expression, he didn't know that Li Zuhu would suddenly appear. Tang Lin also stood up and bowed slightly. After Li Zuhu's eyes swept over Tang Lin, he turned directly to Sukayang behind him. Tang Lin suddenly felt a little happy. It seemed that he had come to the right place today. Because Tang Lin had performed the volcano technique from the beginning, Li Zuhu could not see Tang Lin's soul power anyway. After all, not everyone was lightning Fengzi. I didn't expect the palace master to come as well, so I'm going to ask for a pair of bowls and chopsticks. Tao Yuan said in fear. No, I'm just passing by and came in to take a look. Li Zuhu said. Then he looked at Tang Lin and Sukayang. I wonder if I can ask this girl some questions? According to the investigation, this girl is not a land resident, but lives on an island. On the sea. Even Wuhan Palace dare not touch it easily. so he could only take advantage of Sukayang's territory while he was still there. If Sukayang returned to the sea, he would completely lose the clue. As long as Sister Sukayang is willing, of course I have no objection, Tang Lin said. The three of them looked at Sukayang at the same time. Sukayang was a little flustered. Tang Lin immediately gave them an encouraging look, and then she nodded. Then you two go out first, and I'll ask her a few questions, Li Zuhu said with a smile. Tang Lin frowned. How could it be possible for him to go out? Immediately said, Master of the palace, she is my friend. Now she is very scared and needs my company. If I go out too, she will be even more scared and won't be able to say a word. Li Zuhu lowered his head and thought for a while. Okay, then you stay. Tao Yun, go out and close the door. Don't let anyone in. Yes, Hall Master. Seeing how mysterious Li Zuhu was, Sukayang started to feel a little scared. After all, she had been locked up in a water prison for so long, and now she would become like this if she met a stranger. Don't be afraid, I'm here, Tang Lin comforted. Yeah. Sukayang mustered up the courage and raised her head. You don't have to be afraid. I'm the master of the Wuhan main palace in the city. I'm not a bad person. What is your name? Li Zuhu asked. My name is Sukayang. Sukayang Noano said. Sukayang, yes, it's a good name. I heard that your home is on the sea, so which island is your home on? I can send people from our Wuhan palace to take you back, Li Zuhu said. As expected, Li Zuhu, a middle-aged uncle, had a knack for wooing girls. If he hadn't known that he had planned the massacre of the Wan family, Tang Lin would have thought that he was really a good guy. No need to trouble the Lord, they will send me back. Sukayang looked at Tang Lin and said. Tang Lin nodded in agreement. Oh, you want to send her home? Then I can rest assured. When I was at the auction before, I also wanted to take a photo of you so that I could send you back. Hey, at these auctions now, there will always be sales from time to time. Regarding the population, even our Wuhan palace has no way to stop it. We can only save everyone we see. Li Zuhu sighed. Seeing what Li Zuhu said, Sukayang's eyes showed some gentleness and became less exclusive. Seeing Sukayang's appearance, Tang Lin couldn't help but wonder, are all the girls living in the sea so easy to deceive? Li Zuhu is just the master of the main palace, and he doesn't do business. How can he have so much money and save one after another? Only a ghost would believe it. Chapter 85. Langi Island. Lingfeng Tavern. Room. On the second floor. Tao Yuan stood guard outside the door like a guard. In the room, Tang Lin, Sukayang and the palace master Li Zuhu were talking. Actually, there are many girls like you in this world, such as Catwoman, whose martial souls have mutated and caused some cat characteristics to appear in their bodies. Li Zuhu looked into Sukayang's eyes and said with a slightly solemn expression, the experience is similar to yours, or even much worse than yours. In short, once someone discovers it, it is very likely to become a lot on the auction stage. Do the national laws of the two empires also allow them to do this? Tang Lin couldn't help but ask. Things are not as simple as you think. Li Zuhu shook his head and smiled. Take a Catwoman from Lincheng some time ago. Her family owed a huge gambling debt because of her father, so she had no choice but to give her daughter away as a maid. When others pay their debts, it is all of their own free will. Even if the empire stops it, can it really stop it? Tang Lin shook his head helplessly. In the final analysis, it was because Douluo continent did not have a minor protection law. Tang Lin thought of Sukayang again, and suddenly felt that Sukayang was probably in the same situation. It was definitely not as simple as she said before. No wonder she was not in a hurry to go home now. If we want to reduce the occurrence of this situation, we must start from the root cause. Our Wuhan palace has also been studying why some martial soul mutations cause changes in people's physical characteristics. Now I guess that the reason why you have changed like this is that you have been to some special place before, and after the martial soul awakened. So I ask you these questions now. I hope you can answer me seriously. Point may I? Li Zuhu said. Okay. Sukayang nodded quickly. It can be seen that Sukayang has fallen after being brainwashed by Li Zuhu. In her eyes, Wuhan Palace represents justice, and the master of the palace is the messenger of justice. Tang Lin was helpless. What Li Zuhu said was simply nonsense points. Due to the mutation of the martial soul, the human body also changes. This is not a special individual situation, it is just a normal situation. Just like martial souls can also mutate, this is a normal thing. This is also mentioned in the master's martial soul theory. Seeing through it without saying anything, Tang Lin smiled and said nothing. He also wanted to see the medicine sold in Li Zuhu's gourd. Li Zuhu nodded with satisfaction to Sukayan, smiled slightly, and asked, "Where did you live since you were a child?" Kingayan Island. Kingayan Island? I have heard someone say that it is the tallest island in the sea. It is surrounded by towering trees and various vegetation. The island is also covered by clouds and fog all year round. It is said that no one has ever seen it. I didn't expect your home to be there. It's quite a nice place. Li Zuhu nodded in admiration. Before awakening your martial soul, do you remember that you have been to any other place besides Kingayan Island? Well, I went to Langi Island once when I was 4 years old and then came to the mainland, so I only left Kingayan Island twice. Sukayan buried her head in thought and thought for a while. Dragon Ghost Island? There was a flash of excitement in Li Zuhu's eyes, which was quickly replaced by his seriousness and majesty, but Tang Lin still saw it. Li Zuhu then asked a lot of detailed questions, such as whether Sukayan had eaten anything on Langi Island, whether there was anything special on the island, etc. After some questioning, he seemed to have achieved his goal, so he wanted to leave, not forgetting to warn Tang Lin and others that this conversation could not be known to anyone else. Lord Hall Master, Tang Lin called. "What's up? I heard from Deacon Tao Yuan that this wine was brewed by the wine fairy Wang Yanglin. Do you still have a lot of this kind of wine there? You also know that, although I'm young, I like drinking. Now that I have encountered such a rare wine, it's inevitable." Hehe. Tang Lin chuckled and said, "But don't worry, my family has nothing else but a lot of money. I will never ask you for it in vain. I'm willing to pay a high price to buy it from you." Li Zuhu cares about Sukayan, but he doesn't care about Tang Lin, so he is not afraid to ask Sukayan those questions in front of Tang Lin. Logically speaking, Tang Lin is not qualified to talk to him, but in this world, who can have trouble with money? Li Zuhu does have a lot of fine wines brewed by Wang Yanglin. Even the most common ale is a rare fine wine outside. He has also made a small fortune from these wines in the past few years. Li Zuhu thought for a while. Although Tang Lin's identity and background were still unclear, judging from his Supreme Dragon Mark card, his background was definitely not simple, so there was nothing wrong with being friends with him. The most important thing was that he could make money. So he smiled and said, "Well, I do still have some there. It doesn't matter if I sell some to you. When the time comes, I will ask Tao Yuan to bring it to you. If you think it tastes good, just ask Tao Yuan to tell me." "Thank you, Lord." Tang Lin smiled slightly. Does Li Zuhu still want to make a long-term deal with him? It seems that Li Zuhu still has a lot of wine in his hand. Perhaps Li Zuhu deliberately asked Tao Yuan to reveal to him that this was the wine brewed by the Jiu Zion, so that he could buy wine from him. After Li Zuhu said that, he did not stop. After learning the location of Langi Island, his goal had been achieved, so he hurriedly left. The purpose of Tang Lin's visit was to find out what kind of person this palace master was. Now that his purpose had been basically achieved, how could he still think about drinking? Back at the hotel, Wang Xiaoshu couldn't wait and came up quickly and asked, "How was it? Did you gain anything? The harvest is not small. Come and tell me." Wang Xiaoshu said, closing the door. Tang Lin handed him a pot of wine and said, "Li Zuhu has a lot of wine brewed by your grandfather. Look, it was brewed in the past 2 years. This at least shows that your grandfather is still alive." Wang Xiaoshu took the wine bottle, smelled it and drank a few sips. It is true that it was brewed not long ago, but this may not be the fine wine brewed by my grandfather. Li Zuhu told me that he, the majestic master of Wuhan Palace, would not lie to me about a child. And he should have many more. It is very possible that your grandfather is in his possession. Grandpa. Wang Xiaoshu clenched his fists with a fierce look in his eyes. "Don't worry, your grandpa can still make wine, which at least means he's fine now, right?" Tang Lin comforted. The most important thing now is to rescue your grandpa as soon as possible. Started by you have been in Yiking City longer than me, and you have met Li Zuhu in person. Do you already have any plans in mind? Wang Xiaoshu asked. Plan? I have a simple and crude plan, which is to catch Li Zuhu directly and then force him to hand over your grandfather. Tang Lin said, from my contact with him, he is absolutely unwilling to die. So it can be done, if it's simple and crude. But, it's okay, Li Zuhu is just a sole emperor, and there are no other masters in Wuhan Palace, so don't worry about it. There's just one more thing. Tang Lin frowned in a low voice and said, you should have heard of Langi Island, right? Dragon Ghost Island? Wang Xiaoshu stared intently. I heard that this island is the most mysterious island in the world, because it disappears for a period of time every 100 years, and then appears in another place in the sea. It feels like a living thing. Things are ordinary. Chapter 86. Breaking into the Wuhan Palace at night. Yes, Langi Island is indeed very mysterious. Even people on the mainland are not sure whether there is such an island in the world. Tang Lin said with great interest, I heard that even the people on the sea are not all. No one can see the island, let alone go to it. However, what I didn't expect was that Sukayang actually went there when she was 4 years old and even remembered the general location. I felt that Li Zuhu would definitely go there in person within the next 2 days, although I don't know why they had to find this island, but I think things may not be that simple. Wang Xiaoshu thought for a while, then let's go to Wuhan Hall tonight and try to rescue Grandpa before he leaves. Tang Lin nodded. Dragon Ghost Island is both mysterious and terrifying because few people who have seen Dragon Ghost Island can come back alive. We will divide the work tonight. You will go to the Wuhan Palace, and I will go to the City Lord's mansion. You save your grandfather, and I will find a way to find out whether the Star Luo Empire has anything to do with your grandfather. As for why they want to destroy your sect, arrest your grandpa, and you will know when you ask him after he is rescued. Into the night. The moon is dark and the wind is high. 2 black shadows left the hotel separately. It's not that Li Zuhu didn't send people to monitor Sukayang and Tang Lin. It's just that he and the people he sent underestimated Tang Lin, so these surveillances were still feasible for Sukayang, but for Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu say, it is in name only. The main hall of Wuhan. Even in the middle of the night, there were still many armored guards guarding the gate of Wuhan Palace. These were all warriors of the empire, not even soul masters. This was not a problem at all for Wang Xiaoshu. Several vines quietly appeared around the guards and activated simultaneously in an instant, sealing their limbs and mouths at the same time. Even the weapons in their hands were entangled by the vines. The poison invades, and they quickly lose consciousness because Wang Xiaoshu controls the toxin. The toxin is not fatal, but it can make them sleep until early tomorrow morning. In just 10 seconds, all the guards at the gate were brought down, and not a single unnecessary sound was made during the entire process. When he arrived at the Wuhan Hall, facing the patrolling team of Soul Masters, he would hide if he could. If he couldn't, he would use the experience card to poison the Soul Master as he did when he entered the door and dragged him to the grass to hide. Soon, he came outside the room where Li Zuhu lived. Li Zuhu was a Soul Emperor, and he was fundamentally different from the Soul Masters outside. In order to ensure nothing went wrong, he restrained his aura and soul power from a long distance away. After entering the room and confirming that the person on the bed was Li Zuhu, Wang Xiaoshu immediately used the Soul Saint experience card to instantly control Li Zuhu and maximize the vine's poison. As soon as Li Zuhu opened his eyes, he found that he could no longer move. Who are you? I'm the master of the Wuhan Palace. I advise you to let me go quickly. I might be able to let you go. Otherwise, you will face the entire Wuhan Palace. The master of the Wuhan main hall, Li Zuhu. It's you I'm looking for. Wang Xiaoshu, who was wearing a mask, said coldly with an eerie and hoarse voice. Seeing that the threats were useless, Li Zuhu began to panic a little. Why are you trapping me? Why can't you let me go? If there is something wrong, can you sit down and talk about it? At the same time, he secretly thought in his heart that the man in front of him could quietly deal with the gate and the guards outside the door and could control himself in an instant. Could he be a soul saint level powerhouse? Stop talking nonsense. Let me ask you this. Was it you who planned the massacre of the Wang family 4 years ago? I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm the master of Wuhan Palace, the majestic Soul Emperor. Why would I do such a thing? Li Zuhu said. Is it? Wang Xiaoshu slowly took out a dagger from his waist. When Li Zuhu saw the grid on his waist, he suddenly thought of something. As soon as he reacted, he saw a familiar arm flying down in front of him. He looked to his left hand again. I found that my left arm was missing. Severe pain came over him instantly, and just as he was about to scream loudly, Wang Xiaoshu blocked his mouth with a vine. I advise you to think clearly before answering my question, otherwise even if you really want to die later, I'm afraid it will become an unattainable luxury. Lord Hall Master. Wang Xiaoshu faced the murderer of his own clan. The main culprit will not be merciful. Li Zuhu's face was filled with pain. When he saw Wang Xiaoshu playing with the bloody dagger in front of his eyes, he was terrified. This person suddenly appeared, cut off his arm without any warning after a disagreement, causing his inner defenses to collapse immediately. Li Zuhu nodded with difficulty, indicating that he already knew how powerful it was. Only then did Wang Xiaoshu control the vines and let go of his mouth. 4 years ago, I was indeed responsible for the destruction of the Wang family, but I had no choice. This was all the Pope's instructions. HMPH, the Wang family in Yiqing City is just a small family that knows how to brew wine. There are only a few soul masters. How could they possibly alert the Pope who is far away? Wang Xiaoshu waved his dagger. It seems you still don't want it, to be honest. I will give you a chance now. Tell me, do you want to keep your right hand or your left leg? Wait a minute. I'll tell you everything. Li Zuhu suddenly panicked and said quickly. Wang Xiaoshu secretly laughed. Facing a person like him, he would not tell the truth without giving him some color. Although the Pope does not know about this matter, it has something to do with her. I planned the matter, but I only did it to complete the task given to me by the Pope as soon as possible. What mission? Why do you want to kill the Wang family? Wang Xiaoshu said angrily. Because a few years ago, someone from the Wang family brewed a unique wine that can mutate a person's martial soul, and it mutates for the better. Having said this, Wang Xiaoshu suddenly thought of his own martial spirit. At first, he felt strange that everyone in the family had ordinary good martial spirits, and they had basically no martial soul power. He was the only one with full innate soul power. I thought this was just because of his luck. After all, it was common for commoners to awaken their martial souls and mutate, and thus become geniuses in one fell swoop. Now it seems that it is because of Grandpa. Only now did he know why the family was wiped out in the first place. He just didn't expect that the mighty Wuhan Palace would do things so recklessly. It was so unconscionable. Fortunately, it was finally confirmed that Grandpa was not dead yet. Wang Xiaoshu said directly. Okay, let me ask you again. Where is the wine fairy Wang Yanglin now? Sir, I know you are here for revenge. If I tell you his location now, I'm afraid I will die without a burial place in the next moment, right? Seeing the wine gourd on Wang Xiaoshu's waist, he instantly knew that this person must have come to avenge the Wang family, but he could not figure out when the Wang family had made such a strong person. He never expected that the man in black in front of him was Wang Xiaoshu, Wang Yanglin's grandson, the child who was let go. Chapter 87. Rescue Grandpa, the master of the palace. City Lord's mansion. Tang Lin spent some effort and finally succeeded in sneaking in. Unlike Wang Xiaoshu's night break, he sneaked in quietly, and none of the guards from the City Lord's mansion moved. The residence of the City Lord. At this moment, the City Lord and his wife were sleeping soundly, and there was loud snoring in the room. Tang Lin was very direct, and went up to wake him up. Good evening, Lord City Lord. Seeing the ghost face mask Tang Lin was wearing in the middle of the night almost scared him to death. The City Lord is just a small great soul master, and he has a wife and children. He is not as careless as the master of the Wuhan Palace, so it is very easy to deal with him, and there is no need to use other means at all. Wuhan Temple. As long as you hand over the Jiuxin, I can swear that I will never kill you. Wang Xiaoshu said. Do you really think I'm a fool? Li Zuhu finally spoke up. First detoxify me, and then after you release me, I will tell you his location. Crack. Wang Xiaoshu frowned, and the vines instantly broke Li Zuhu's limbs. Are you? What are you? You, let me warn you again, don't challenge my bottom line. Whether the Jiuxin saves me or not is not very important to me. But if you want to threaten me with this, I will really let you. Life is worse than death. Wang Xiaoshu took off the wine gourd from his waist. Do you think I came to you to avenge the Wang family? Huh, you're thinking too much. I don't want to be the enemy of the entire Wuhan Palace. My mission is only to investigate the truth of what happened back then, and then rescue the wine immortal King Yanglin if I can. That's all. Li Zuhu narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at Wang Xiaoshu fiercely, muttering to himself, is this person really not here to take revenge and save Wang Yanglin? I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it. 1. Take me to see Wang Yanglin, and then you swear not to tell what happened tonight. Then I can swear not to kill you. 2nd, if you insist on not telling me, I will look for it myself. Regardless of whether I can find it or not, I will leave before dawn point and your fate will be to be mute by my poison. After 7 days, your body will fester, and you will die in pain. Today, Li Zuhu's limbs were broken by Wang Xiaoshu, and he can no longer write. If he is poisoned and mute again, no one else will know what happened tonight. The poison appeared after 7 days, and he had no confidence that he would find a miracle doctor to detoxify him within 7 days. Li Zuhu thought about it, and it seemed that only by letting Wang Yanglin go would he have hope of survival. Finally, he sighed dejectedly and said, okay, I can let Wang Yanglin go, or I can swear not to tell what happened tonight, but you must also swear to help me detoxify, and then let me go. I've always been talking. Seeing that Li Zuhu finally agreed, Wang Xiaoshu thought to himself, what Tang Lin said is indeed useful. The place where Wang Yanglin was imprisoned was in a secret room in Wuhan Palace. There were many secret rooms here, all of which belonged to the private domain of the palace owner. No one dared to set foot in this place. The secret room is far away from where other people in Wuhan Palace live or work. Even if there is a faint aroma of wine wafting out, few people notice anything, so no one in the entire Wuhan Palace knows that there is a person locked up here. Wang Xiaoshu used vines to control Li Zuhu to lead the way. Fortunately, there was no one nearby, so no one saw them. These secret rooms contain prisoners? Of course not. The prisoners are all held in dungeons. This is not a prison cell. The people living in it are all important people. Important people, Li Zuhu said with some embarrassment. Wang Xiaoshu would not believe his lies. There is not only a faint aroma of wine here, but also a hint of womanhood. What kind of important woman would hide quietly in a place like this? Soon, the two came to the door of the secret room, where Wang Yanglin was imprisoned. Wang Xiaoshu looked slightly excited. The door to the secret room was a thick stone door. After Li Zuhu opened the stone door with a key, he turned on the light and found an extremely spacious laboratory inside. Bottles and jars are filled with all kinds of wine. In the deepest part, an old man with snow-white hair slowly stood up from the bed. Wang Xiaoshu took off his mask, walked over, and quickly supported him. Grandpa, you are suffering. At the same time, Li Zuhu glanced at Li Zuhu with red eyes. In his extremely surprised eyes, he controlled the vines and knocked him unconscious instantly. In the dim light, Wang Yanglin raised his head. Are you Xiaoshu? Grandpa, I'm Xiaoshu. My grandson is unfilial, and I'm here to save you now. Wang Xiaoshu burst into tears and hugged his grandfather and said, oh, who asked you to come to save me? Please leave quickly, it's dangerous here. Grandpa, you don't have to be afraid. He is the master of Wuhan Palace. He has been subdued by me now and does not pose any threat to us. Wang Xiaoshu pointed at Li Zuhu on the ground. When Wang Yanglin saw that the person on the ground was indeed Li Zuhu, he was immediately surprised and looked at Wang Xiaoshu. Wang Xiaoshu quickly said, Grandpa, I will explain to you when we get back. Now is not the time to talk, let's get out of here first. With that said, he directly carried his grandfather on his back and took Li Zuhu directly out of the secret room. In a forest outside the city. As expected, your grandfather is in his hands. Tang Lin said, looking at the unconscious Wang Yanglin. Starter Grandpa has been locked up in the secret room of Wuhan Palace. Now he is rescued and sees me again. I'm afraid that Grandpa will be too happy tonight, so I let him sleep. How are you doing there? Wang Xiaoshi said. The city lord's mansion has nothing to do with this matter. They knew that Wuhan Palace had people do it, so they didn't dare to investigate and then let it go. Tang Lin said, now the two major empires and Wuhan Palace, the relationship is complicated. No one dares to provoke anyone easily, and we can't blame them. Since the matter has nothing to do with the Star Luo Empire, it will be easy to handle. Wang Xiaoshu clenched his fists. I have brought Li Zuhu out, and I will not let him go. As for those people from the demonic sword sect, when they have the strength in the future, just destroy it. Tang Lin nodded, looked at the unconscious palace master on the ground, and asked, then Li Zuhu, what are you going to do? On the way out just now, Grandpa told me that Li Zuhu looks human, but is actually a beast. He has many beautiful girls locked up in the secret room of Wuhan Palace. Although I swore not to kill him, my parents, the hatred of genocide, how could I let him go? Wang Xiaoshu gritted his teeth. You said all that, do you mean to let me take action? Tang Lin rolled his eyes at him. I'm only 10 years old now, you want me to take action? Wang Xiaoshu was speechless for a moment. He knew that he could not do anything to Li Zuhu with such deep hatred, let alone Tang Lin, who was 2 years younger than him. Now I realize that killing is easy to say but a little difficult to do, even when facing such a villain. Okay. Just when he was thinking about what to do, he saw Tang Lin carrying a machete and slowly walking towards Li Zuhu. Wang Xiaoshu was stunned. Tang Lin said he didn't want to, but his body was very honest. In fact, Tang Lin's hands were shaking at this moment, and he thought to himself, it's not that I want to lick the bag, it's just that a person like you, who has a human face and a beastly heart, and is a treacherous and evil person, should be killed. After all, if he doesn't kill, I don't know how many lives he will kill within a year. Puff. Tang Lin struck with one blow and Li Zuhu died. The master of the majestic Wuhan main palace died in a daze. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing the Soul Master for the first time, and you will be rewarded with an eternal diamond level lottery. On the ground, next to Li Zuhu's body, a dark black box slowly appeared. Tang Lin originally thought he would have some other reaction after killing someone, but he didn't expect that when he saw the box, he immediately thought of licking the bag. Is this the Soul Master's box? I don't know what's the difference between it and the Soul Beast. Chapter 88. Soul Master's box. Looking at Li Zuhu's body, Wang Xiaoshu breathed a sigh of relief. Tang Lin had killed him. Although he didn't do anything, he felt as if he had avenged his family and tribe. Looking at Tang Lin again, a smile appeared on Tang Lin's face that shouldn't have appeared. Wang Xiaoshu panicked and shouted quickly, Xiaolin, are you okay? Huh? Oh, it's okay. I've avenged you, and I'm very happy. Tang Lin said with a smile. Tang Lin's Heng was extremely happy to have a box to lick. What could happen? Ding. Licking the box successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 6-ring soul crystal, 10 yellow ring beans, 7 purple ring beans, and 5 black ring beans. Soul crystal, a crystal of soul power, which can assist in cultivation, and can also be used to restore soul power during combat. The soul crystal is transparent, and is as big as an adult's fist. There are 6 circles of different sizes inside, yellow, purple, black, and black, which represent the configuration of the soul ring of the deceased during his lifetime, and also represent the amount of soul power. Yellow ring beans can increase the year of the first and second soul rings of the martial arts to 100 years of soul rings. Purple ring beans can increase the years of the first to fourth soul rings of the martial arts 1000-year soul rings. Black ring bean can increase the years of the first to 9th soul rings of the martial arts 10,000-year soul ring. Each ring bean is about the size of a thumb, shaped like a peanut, with circles on the surface and different colors and sizes. Apart from the box of energy and some miscellaneous things, what stood out to Tang Lin the most was these 2 things. He never expected that the Soul Master's box could actually contain such magical things as soul crystals and ring beans. The next day, the Wuhan Palace was invaded. The Palace Master disappeared mysteriously, and his life and death were unknown. The entire Wuhan palace fell into panic, and people were in chaos. Soon, the Empire's army and the Soul Masters of Wuhan Palace immediately launched an investigation. The Soul Masters of Wuhan Palace blocked the entrances and exits of various city gates, and searched door to door in the city. Wang Xiaoshu's goal has long been achieved. At this moment, he is already taking his grandfather on the way to Soto City. Tang Lin, on the other hand, was lying comfortably in the hotel, playing with the crystal clear soul crystal, and studying its uses. Su Qiang has not been sent back yet, and he is also a little interested in Langyi Island, so he doesn't want to go back with Wang Xiaoshu yet. Besides, he made an appointment with Tao Yuan yesterday to meet today. If he left directly, wouldn't he be suspected? The sun sets over the West Mountain, in the Lingfeng Tavern. Tao Yuan brought the wine purchased by Tang Lin and Li Zuhu on time, but the palace master disappeared mysteriously. Thinking about the questions that the mysterious man in black broke into the room and asked him more than a month ago, he always felt a little uneasy. But after receiving Tang Lin's heavy golden soul coin, he was secretly happy. If the palace master couldn't come back, wouldn't all this money be his? Each bottle of wine costs tens of thousands of gold soul coins. There are more than 20 bottles here, which adds up to 10,000 plus gold soul coins. This is a lot of money for him. He really can't understand Tang Lin's behavior. Rich person behavior. Deacon Tao, what happened in Yiking City today? Why did so many troops appear in the city? Tang Lin asked, pretending to be confused. Well, to tell you the truth, someone sneaked into our Wuhan palace last night. Many guards and soul masters were poisoned and are still awake. The master of the palace disappeared mysteriously. We still don't know whether he is dead or alive. Tao Yuan sighed. Hiss. The majestic master of Wuhan Hall, who is so brave and so arrogant. Tang Lin said in great surprise. I don't know, but according to the evidence we have found so far, this matter was done by one person, and this person's strength is definitely extraordinary. This information is still confidential for now, little brother, please don't spread it out randomly. Tao Yuan said. Don't worry, I know the severity. It's just that I just wanted to send Sister Su Qiang home. In this situation, I might encounter obstacles when leaving the city gate. Tang Lin said with a slightly solemn expression. Tao Yuan rolled his eyes and said immediately, this is not easy, just let me take you out of the city. Tao Yuan knew that Tang Lin's identity and background were unusual, and it would not be difficult to leave the city, so he wanted to give Tang Lin a favor. Okay, then there will be Deacon Leo Teo, a piece of cake. Tang Lin hired a luxurious carriage that suited his status. The two of them went to the hotel to pick up Su Qiang and drove directly to the city gate. The city gate is guarded by people from Wuhan Palace. The situation is unclear now. It is not known whether there is anyone in Wuhan Palace who is cooperating with the person who kidnapped the palace master. Even if the people from Wuhan Palace want to take people out, it will not be easy thing, so they were stopped as soon as they arrived at the city gate. Fortunately, Tao Yuan spent a small amount of money and opened the carriage for them to search. After confirming that Tang Lin and Su Qiang were just two young people, they let them go. The carriage headed south, aiming directly at coastal cities. While chatting on the road, Tang Lin learned another shocking secret. It turned out that Su Qiang did not have insufficient soul power to obtain a soul ring. On the contrary, she had an innate soul power of level 10. It's just that for some reason, the soul ring was not obtained. As for the reason, Su Qiang refused to say anything. Only now did Tang Lin realize that the conspiracy behind Li Zuhu was really not simple. Is this really related to the Dragon Ghost Island? Or, as Li Zuhu said, Wang Xiaoshu's grandfather also visited that island and invented a certain kind of wine, which caused Wang Xiaoshu's martial spirit to mutate. What exactly is there on Dragon Ghost Island? Many questions may only be answered by going to the legendary Dragon Ghost Island. Sister Su Qiang, aren't you happy that you haven't been home for so long? Tang Lin asked. Ever since Tang Lin asked her why she didn't hunt the soul beast to get the soul ring, she had lowered her head and said nothing. She didn't have much energy along the way, but she looked a little worried. Su Qiang still didn't speak. Tang Lin joked and said, Sister Su Qiang, don't you miss my brother Wang Xiaoshu? Where? It's nothing. Su Qiang said quickly. Unexpectedly, when she mentioned Wang Xiaoshu, she actually spoke up. Tang Lin smiled again and said, "The emergency is urgent. He was busy at the moment, so he didn't have time to say goodbye to you. Don't be surprised. I didn't blame him." Su Kayang said angrily. "Then why is Sister Su Kayang unhappy? Shouldn't she be a little happier when she goes home?" Tang Lin asked innocently and cutely in a dress. Before Su Kayang had time to speak, the carriage suddenly stopped suddenly, and then she heard many people shouting, and the sound of horse hooves outside. "Young master, no, 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 there's someone robbering." The coachman opened the door curtain and shouted to Tang Lin quickly. As soon as he finished speaking, he was picked up by a big hand, and with a snap, he was thrown directly onto the road. Su Kayang was so frightened that she screamed, "Ah! Oh, I didn't expect there to be a girl. Her voice is so sweet. Let me see what she looks like." A lewd voice came, and Su Kayang curled up into a ball in panic and hid in the corner of the carriage. Tang Lin's heart was touched when he saw her being frightened like this. He frowned, a flash of anger flashed in his eyes, and comforted, "Sister Kayanja, don't be afraid, I'm here." So I slowly walked out of the carriage. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Evil people will be punished by evil people. Brother, this carriage is so luxurious, there must be rich people inside. We made it today. Not bad, not bad. I just happened to pass by here today, but I didn't expect to find such a bargain in this quiet place. I really got lucky, and I can't stop it, even if I want to. / what the second brother said is good, and there is a woman inside. Let me go and see what this woman looks like. If she is a beauty, hehehe. Tang Lin opened the door and came out. In front of him were 7 or 8 robbers, all with a horse. The driver was stepped on by a man. His mouth and nose were still bleeding. He kept begging for mercy. However, the man became more and more proud. On the right side of the carriage, a bearded man slowly stretched his hand towards the curtain, wanting to see the appearance of Su Kayang, who had just made the sound. Tang Lin quickly stopped. "Brother, if you want money, I will give it to you. Please also let our driver go, and let us leave. Go away. How dare a young boy negotiate terms with me?" the man shouted, ignoring Tang Lin, and Ren Jiu stretched out his hand to open the curtain of the carriage. Hey, it turns out she is a beautiful girl. Brother, there is a little beauty inside. Ha, okay. Keep this woman, kill the 2 men directly, and then take all the money. Let's go back today, and let the brothers have a good time. The leader laughed. Tang Lin was shocked. He never expected that the robbers today would be so arrogant, not only robbing, but also killing people. When the coachman heard this, he was almost frightened to death, and he quickly cried and begged for mercy. However, the man who stepped on him slightly raised the corners of his mouth, showing an expression of great enjoyment, and raised his big knife, about to chop it off. Tang Lin's eyes narrowed slightly, and he appeared in front of him instantly. He said in a deep voice, "Take your stinky feet away, and put down your knife." The man was startled, but he laughed again in an instant. "I didn't expect you to be a soul master, agility, and attack type. Your speed is pretty good, but unfortunately, you still overestimate your abilities." As he spoke, soul rings gradually appeared on his body, yellow, and purple, and 3 standard soul rings appeared at his feet. Several people around him also showed their martial souls and soul rings, most of which were the best soul rings. Configuration. It is obvious that these 7 people are a combination of soul masters, and they also have some backgrounds, maybe from which family force. I didn't expect that you are also soul masters. As a soul master admired by the world, you can still live and clothe yourself, even if you do nothing. Why do you want to be robbers and do such a thing? Tang Lin couldn't understand that a powerful soul master could actually do such a thing. Haha, there's no reason, it's just a whim, and it's not the first time we've done this, don't you think? Haha, the crowd laughed. Just on a whim, he wanted to do this kind of thing of killing people, robbing wealth and 6 Tang Lin's eyes gradually became murderous. Boy, I won't take off the feet, and I won't let go of the knife. I want to see what you can do to me right now. Ha ha ha, it's so ridiculous. Before he finished speaking, he screamed so loudly that everyone looked over in shock. It turned out that his feet had been chopped off by Tang Lin. Old 6. Everyone was shocked. They didn't even see clearly when Tang Lin took action. In their eyes, Tang Lin was only at the level of a great soul master at his age, so they didn't take it to heart at first, but they didn't expect that they would suffer a big loss. Don't you want to see what I can do to you? How do you feel now? Are you satisfied? Tang Lin said calmly. The man was so frightened by Tang Lin's momentum that he collapsed to the ground, crawled back in panic, and murmured, You, don't come here. I'll give you one more chance. I'll count to 3. If you still have a knife in your hand, don't want it anymore. Tang Lin said coldly. 1. Chang. The man threw away the knife without even thinking. Although there were several brothers standing behind him, Tang Lin instantly changed from a well-behaved child to a devil, which really left an indelible shadow in his heart. Tang Lin looked at him with cold eyes, and he was extremely scared. Tang Lin slowly helped the coachman up and said softly, Go back to the car and stay there. Don't come out. Let's see who dares to attack you. Tang Lin glanced around. In front of everyone's eyes, the coachman slowly walked towards the carriage. They were all intimidated by Tang Lin's fierce domineering attitude, and no one dared to take action. Brother, what should we do? Liu's feet were chopped off by this kid. We can't just let it go. Brother, just to be on the safe side, let's go together. Liu was just too careless just now. While they were talking, the coachman had returned to the carriage. The bearded man next to the carriage looked at Tang Lin warily, stepped back slowly, and slowly approached the other people. After taking a few steps back, he thought he could breathe a sigh of relief, but he didn't expect that the next moment, Tang Lin appeared behind him, with a small and terrifyingly cold voice saying, How are you? Is the beauty inside good looking? Tang Lin's speed shocked everyone, and they quickly shouted, Old 5, watch your back. The lion still needs all his strength to fight the rabbit. How could he let these people gather and besiege him? Liu slowly turned his head, and the moment he saw Tang Lin, his eyes suddenly widened. Excuse me. Puff with reluctance and regret, he slowly fell to the ground. Old 5. Fifth brother. If the person just now was careless, then this Liu was definitely not careless, because he had always been wary of Tang Lin, but he didn't even know how Tang Lin got behind him. Brother, you got the idea. Get in formation quickly. The eldest brother shouted loudly, and in an instant, everyone stood in a fighting formation. At this moment, no one underestimates Tang Lin anymore. HMPH, you actually dare to kill my fifth brother. When I catch you, I will make your life worse than death, and the coachman cannot escape, especially the woman. After playing with you, I will kill you all together. Pay homage to my fifth brother. Tang Lin had no mercy for people like them who wanted to kill people and rob wealth and sex on a whim. After finishing the fifth brother, he turned to everyone and coldly snorted, Your fifth brother doesn't know how many good women have been harmed. Death is not enough. It's a pity. The same goes for you. As the saying goes, evil people will be punished by evil people. It's unlucky for you to hit me in the robbery today, because today, I will be the evil person behind you. What a shameless statement. The leading brother was very confident. His Soul King strength is far ahead among his brothers, so he is naturally more confident than them. Tang Lin shook his head, stopped talking nonsense, released his martial soul ring, and prepared to fight. Yellow, purple, black. This, how is this possible? After seeing Tang Lin's soul ring, everyone was shocked. They never thought that a human's second soul ring could be a 1000-year soul ring, and Tang Lin's third soul ring was a black 10,000-year soul ring. This has completely subverted their cognition. Chapter 91. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Time flies. Half a month later. During this period, Su Kayang absorbed 4 entire soul rings, and now she is also a 4-ring soul sect. The two hired a boat and finally arrived at the mysterious Dragon Ghost Island point from a distance. The entire island does look like a sleeping dragon. The strange thing is that only Tang Lin and Su Kayang can see the ghost island in front of them. In the eyes of other people on the boat, the whole island is visible in front of them. It is a vast ocean with no islands visible at all. No wonder it's called Langi Island. Tang Lin was slightly excited. Get off the boat immediately and land on Langi Island. The boatmen felt as if they had seen a ghost. There was clearly a sea in front of them, but Tang Lin and his two men got off the boat here, and what's even more bizarre is that the two of them are still walking on air. The boatman immediately realized that this was probably the mysterious Dragon Ghost Island, and they were so frightened that they almost fainted on the spot. People at sea were very secretive about Langi Island. No one would take the initiative to look for this island. If Tang Lin and his wife hadn't deceived the boatman, no ship would be willing to take them here. Although the island is not very big, it is not small either. People at sea describe this island as extremely bizarre and terrifying, so no one dares to live in such a place. The two of them put on their walking boots and ran for several hours, but to no avail. There was no way to go on like this, so Tang Lin asked, "Sister Sukayang, do you remember what you ate on the island, or where you visited when you were here before?" I was too young at the time and don't remember anything else, but I seem to remember that the island was not what it is now after the last time I came here. But this is indeed Dragon Ghost Island. I don't know any way how to explain. Sukayang shook her head and frowned, saying nervously, "Oh, how is this island different from the previous one? It couldn't have been too long. Did you remember it wrong?" Tang Lin said. "After all, Sukayang was only 4 years old when I came here last time. No, I will never remember it wrong." Sukayang said excitedly, "The last time I came here with my uncle, I saw many people died, even uncle. Anyway, I won't remember it wrong. This island is much bigger than the last time I saw it." Tang Lin frowned. It is said that this island disappears every 100 years and then appears elsewhere. Now Sukayang said that this island is not what it used to be. Could it be that this is really a ghost island? What happened last time you came here? I don't know either. Sukayang shook her head. Tang Lin was helpless. He didn't know whether Sukayang really didn't remember or didn't want to tell him. Suddenly, he found that Sukayang was becoming more and more mysterious. But after all, everyone has secrets that they don't want to tell, so he didn't want to tell them either. I just hope I can find something on this island. After a few days of rough exploration, the island has almost been explored. Tang Lin found it strange that this island was no different from ordinary islands, and nothing special had happened in the past few days. There are many rare vegetation on the island, as well as many birds and animals. They are all spirit beasts that are less than 1,000 years old, and there is nothing special about them. There must be a demon in the abnormal situation. This was Tang Lin's immediate reaction. The most mysterious island in the legend could be so ordinary, and something really seemed to have happened when Sukayang came here as a child. A series of questions left Tang Lin puzzled, but this time he came here just to take a look and had no intention of staying here for a long time. So in the end, he had no choice but to send Sukayang back first. In fact, Tang Lin didn't really believe that there really was something in this world that could allow people to awaken a powerful mutated martial spirit. If there was, it would be a bit scary if it was controlled by the spirit hall. Fortunately, these are not mentioned in the original work. It seems that Wuhan Palace did not get what it wanted in the end. Kingayan Island. It is towering into the clouds and shrouded in white mist. Although it cannot be seen in its entirety, it is at least 5 or 6 times larger than Langi Island. Sukayang's home lives in a small village on a small island in Kingayan Island. Sukayang. As soon as they landed on the island, a young man recognized Sukayang and immediately stepped forward to stop Sukayang and said, "I didn't expect you would have the nerve to come back. Who is he? Don't you know the rules of our island? Really? Who allowed you to take people back to the island?" Sukayang did not answer him immediately, but turned to look at Tang Lin and said apologetically, "Tang Lin, I'm home. I was supposed to let you stay on our island for a few days. I'd like to thank you very much, but you also know I won't go to the island. It's just a small effort to save you. I never ask for anything in return. However, the people in your hometown don't seem to welcome you. Are you sure you don't want me to stay and help you?" Tang Lin door. On the way, Su Kayang said that outsiders were not allowed to enter the island. If Su Kayang hadn't been there just now, he wouldn't have been able to get here. Tang Lin didn't think about what he was doing on the island. He had been sent there, and it was time for him to go back. Counting the time, his sister Xiaomi was almost 6 years old and ready to awaken her martial spirit. No, I'm no longer the person I used to be, so don't worry, Su Kayang said. Su Kayang, what are you muttering about? Why don't you drive him away quickly and come back with me to apologize to everyone? The young man said impatiently. After saying that, he stepped up and grabbed Su Kayang's ears. Su Kayang dodged and said coldly, "Now I don't want to be manipulated by you anymore. You'd better show some respect to me." "Oh, you still dare to hide? Look at me." Before the man could finish speaking, Su Kayang was immediately possessed by his martial soul. 4 beautiful soul rings in yellow, and purple colors appeared around him. With such power, the man was so frightened that he could not speak. He stepped back a few steps and fell to the ground. How is it possible? In just a few short months, the little girl who had no power to bind a chicken suddenly transformed into a powerful soul master, but he is still a foreign soul sect. Incredible. This is just hell. Su Kayang snorted and ignored him. She turned to Tang Lin and said, "Now you can go back without worries. I have the things you gave me, so don't worry. No one can hurt me." Tang Lin smiled slightly and nodded. Su Kayang had experienced so much, and she had indeed grown up. She was no longer the timid little girl she used to be. "Okay, then I'll go back. But I believe that we will have the opportunity to meet again in the future." Tang Lin smiled. This time he explored Langi Island in a hurry. He will definitely come again when he has time. After all, he still has so many questions that have not been answered here. "Tang Lin, it was you who changed my life and my destiny. It's useless to say thank you too much. I hope I can help you next time we meet. At the very least, when you come next time, King Iron Island will not. I will reject you again," Su Kayang said. Su Kayang knew that Tang Lin would definitely come to Dahe again. "Okay, it's a deal." Chapter 92. Clear away the clouds and mist. Soto City. Liangshan, I told you a long time ago that those who know the current affairs are heroes, but you just didn't listen. What kind of status is Wuhan Palace, and you dare to go against them? Haha, you are really overestimating your capabilities. Liangsheng, don't get too carried away. I said that the seller would only do business with me. If it were anyone else, he wouldn't buy it at all. If you don't believe it, just wait and see. Liangshan shook his sleeves and said angrily wrote. "Huh, what do you know? Do you think you are the only one who can do business? Who do you think you are? Just go back to Balak and live a leisurely life. From now on, the Soto auction house is mine," Liangsheng said with a proud smile. Tang Lin returned to Soto City half a month later. In the mansion in Soto City, Chang Hui and Wang Mu were practicing with 2 teams of 100 soul masters. Wang Xiaoshu just left and went to Notting City Point because Tang Xiaomi's 6th birthday was coming soon. He and Tang Lin promised her to rush back before her martial arts awakened. Wang Xiaoshu was worried that Tang Lin would come back too late and would not be able to catch up, so he went back first point unexpectedly. Tang Lin came back just 2 days after he left. Wang Xiaoshu's grandfather, the wine fairy Wang Yanglin, lived in a mansion to cultivate his health. He was provided with food, clothing, housing and transportation, and was guarded by a team of 200 soul masters. He was safe and Wang Xiaoshu felt relieved. After learning about Wang Xiaoshu's situation, Tang Lin came to see Wang Yanglin immediately. "Grandpa Wang," Tang Lin said respectfully. "Are you Tang Lin? As expected, you are so talented that everyone loves you." "Haha, my grandson said that you saved him in the first place. As an old man, I don't know how to thank you, so please accept my bow," Wang Yanglin said. "Grandpa, you can't do this." Tang Lin quickly stepped forward to support Wang Yanglin. "Xiaoshu and I are as close as brothers, and his grandpa is my grandpa, so grandpa, there is no need to be so outspoken." Wang Yanglin already had white hair, but when he heard Tang Lin's words, he suddenly felt energetic. He looked directly at Tang Lin and nodded slowly. Xiaoshu is lucky to have a brother like you. Good. 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 So true good. After chatting for a long time, Tang Lin poured a cup of tea, handed it to Wang Yanglin, and said, Grandpa, I actually want to ask you some questions. Is that okay? Wang Yanglin took the teacup and his smile gradually faded. He knew what Tang Lin wanted to ask, and his expression was slightly troubled, but after thinking about it, he nodded and said, okay, you can ask. Why did Li Zuhu take action against the Wang family in the first place? Also, what was the purpose of keeping you under house arrest for so many years? Tang Lin asked. It wasn't that Tang Lin wanted to bring up his old man's sadness on purpose, but this matter was indeed unusual. Tang Lin wouldn't feel at ease unless he asked clearly. Xiaoshu also asked me, but I didn't tell him the truth. Wang Yanglin said slowly, it's not impossible to tell you, but you have to promise me not to let anyone else know the content of our next conversation. Okay, especially small trees. Okay. Tang Lin nodded immediately. The story begins more than 10 years ago. At that time, I once visited Kingayan Island. The main peak of Kingayan Island towered into the clouds. I was lucky enough to climb it once. Sure enough, it was related to Kingayan Island. No wonder Li Zuhu found out about Sukayan. Kingayan Island is far away in the sea, and it is extremely exclusive. The sea soul masters in it are also extremely strong. Most people cannot enter there at all. How did Grandpa get in? Tang Lin asked doubtfully. Even he himself could only get close, because Sukayan led the way, and he was not allowed to enter the island, which showed that outsiders were not welcome on the island. Nothing but my winemaking skills. After all, the people on the island also like drinking very much. Wang Yanglin said. Later, I discovered a hidden and narrow cave under the top of the main peak. There was a cave inside. There was an unusually sweet spring water, and there were many medicinal herbs beside the spring water. I immediately thought of using it to brew wine. Later, I took some spring water and medicinal herbs, took them back, and brewed a special medicinal wine after several months. However, one of my grandsons accidentally drank it all secretly, and then when he awakened his martial spirit, the martial spirit A mutation has occurred, and the innate soul power has reached level 4. The martial souls of our clan are all wine gourds. They are useless martial souls. Their innate soul power has never exceeded the first level. I originally thought that this was just an ordinary martial soul mutation, but there was something strange going on in my mind. It reminds me of the effect of that medicinal wine. Wang Yanglin sighed as he patted his thigh hard. What happened next? Tang Lin asked. Later, about 5 or 6 years ago, I quietly went to Kingayan Island again, brought back a lot of spring water and herbs, and developed that medicinal wine again. After more than a year of research and improvement, I finally developed a more perfect one of medicinal wine. This medicinal wine has no harm to the body, so I secretly gave it to Xiaoshu to drink. Unexpectedly, when his martial soul awakened, not only did his martial soul mutate, but he also had full innate soul power. I was so happy at that time. In order to determine whether my 2 grandsons mutated their martial spirits because of this medicinal wine, I wanted to go to Kingayan Island again, to get more spring water and herbs, and continue to develop the medicinal wine. However, this time, for some unknown reason, the news was known to the master of the Wuhan Palace. Then, in order to prevent the news from leaking, he sent people to kill all the members of my clan, leaving only me. Fortunately, my old friend took Xiaoshu away with me at that time, and Xiaoshu survived. Tang Lin's brows furrowed more and more as he listened. Could it be that this medicinal wine really had such a magical function? No, it's not scientific. Compared with these, Tang Lin believed in the master's theory more. Even now, he didn't really believe that this kind of medicinal wine could really mutate people's martial arts souls, unless he could get some more for experiments. It's just that Grandpa Jiu Zan's family was slaughtered, and he was imprisoned for 4 more years. Now he has white hair, and is in his twilight years. It can be seen that he has long since lost his mind about these things. So for the past 4 years, he has kept you secretly in the secret room of Wuhan Palace and asked you to help him develop this medicinal wine. Tang Lin asked. Yes, it's just that he only knows that I can develop this kind of medicinal wine, but he doesn't know what is needed to make this medicinal wine. Now, only you and me in the world know that the spring water and medicinal herbs are in Qinghai Mountain. Wang Yanglin Road. Tang Lin suddenly became more confused. Since Li Zuhu didn't know that the spring water and herbs used to develop the medicinal wine were on Qinghai Island, why did he find Su Kaiang's body at that time? Grandpa, have you been to Langi Island? Been there. More than 10 years ago, after I went to Qinghai Island, I went there once with some residents on the island. When I came back, some things happened at that time, and I still feel a little scared when I think about it. Wang Yanglin said. In this case, these things make a little sense. Li Zuhu probably found out that his grandfather had been to Langi Island and Qinghai Island, so he placed the target of suspicion on Langi Island, and that's why he found Su Kaiang. If you guessed correctly, maybe Su Kaiang went to Langi Island with Grandpa Jukes more than 10 years ago. Tang Lin asked Wang Yanglin again what happened on Langi Island, but Wang Yanglin never said anything again. All this seemed to be about to clear away the clouds and see the dawn, but in the end it was covered by a barrier, making Tang Lin unable to see clearly and unable to understand. Dragon Ghost Island is indeed mysterious. Chapter 93. Wuhan Palace takes action. The next day, just as Tang Lin was about to return to Notting City, Flanders ran over in a hurry and said breathlessly, "You are finally back. Is there something wrong with Uncle Flanders?" Tang Lin asked. Of course there is something. I don't know why, but the person in charge of the entrusted auction house has changed half a month ago. I heard that the Liangshan guy before was transferred back to Berwick City, so I'm here to ask you, what you said before, is it true that we only trade with Liangshan? / Uncle Liangshan was transferred? Is it true? Tang Lin asked in surprise. What do you mean by this? Of course it is true. Can I still lie to you? Flanders said. It shouldn't be. Tang Lin muttered softly. He gave Liang Qiu a leg bone before, just to let the Liang family know that doing business with their Soto auction house was purely for the sake of Liang Qiu and Liang Shan. Why did the Liang family still replace him? Hiss. Wuhan Palace. Thinking of this, Tang Lin smiled slightly. Wuhan Palace, are you finally ready to take action? Uncle Flanders, from now on, we will terminate all cooperation with Soto auction house. If the people in charge now ask why, just tell them that we only cooperate with people we can trust. Do you suspect that people from Wuhan Palace have intervened? Flanders frowned. Not doubt, but certainty. It's just that we cooperate with many businessmen in Soto City. In fact, I don't want to give up here yet. In this way, you leave the Balak Kingdom and take the treasure armor directly to the Xiandao auction house in Xiandao City to auction it. You have to go there in the future anyway, and now is the time point. I think the people in Xiandao City will definitely welcome you very much. If the treasure armor is auctioned at the Xiandao auction house in Xiandao City, it will attract many people and bring considerable benefits to Xiandao City and even the Xiandao Empire. Although the Balak Kingdom is a satellite of the Xiandao Empire, and the two kings and emperors are even brothers, in fact it is not as harmonious as it seems on the surface. If the Baojia is transferred from Soto City to Xiandao City, it will give Bay the Kingdom of Lark brought considerable losses and pressure. Faced with huge interests, the Balak Kingdom will no longer give Wuhan Palace face, and Liangshan will be transferred back by then. This is Tang Lin's response to Wuhan Palace. He's challenging Wuhan Palace. Ha, you are so confident that I will promise you to go to Xiandao City for you? Flender raised his eyebrows. My Shrek Academy is in Soto City. Tang Lin couldn't tell that Flanders wanted to bargain with him, so he immediately rolled his eyes at Flanders and said, okay, since you don't want to go, then I can only find someone else to cooperate with me. Hey, it's actually not that troublesome. As long as you can give me a little more salary. Heh. Flanders said with a wink. Impossible. I have to support so many people under my command. Do you think my money comes from the sky? Do you want to give up? Tang Lin curled his lips. There were so many cities. Why Tang Lin chose Xiandao City specifically? Because Liu Erlan was there. Are you thinking about your employees? I'm afraid he will go there, even if you don't pay him a salary, right? As expected, Flanders immediately slumped down and said lazily, okay. For your sake, I will make this trip for you, okay? After the matter was clearly explained, Tang Lin left Soto City. Counting the time, I haven't been back to Notting City for several months. Xiaomi must have missed me to death. Thinking of his cute and naughty sister, Tang Lin quickened his pace again. In trusted auction house, Flanders was wearing a mask with ghost patterns and was sitting on the sofa in the VIP reception room. Liang Sheng served tea and poured water like a waiter, extremely respectful. Master Ghost King, please have some tea. Thank you. Flanders took it and took another sip. Where is your manager Liang? Sir, General Manager Liang Shen hurried back home because of an urgent matter at home. I'm his brother Liang Sheng. He asked me to come and negotiate with you. Now, I'm in charge of the Soto auction house. My brother was a bit stingy when he cooperated with you before. Now I'm in charge. We only charge a % handling fee for the things you auction at our auction house. What do you think? Question mark. Liang Sheng got straight to the point when he came up and gave Flanders enough benefits. Flanders put down the teacup. Since Liang Sheng is not here, I will come to visit another day. I thought that the Ghost King would be happy for giving away so much profit, but I didn't expect this to be the case. Liang Sheng suddenly panicked and said quickly, Master Ghost King, the treasure armor that has been agreed to be auctioned tonight. You see if. General Manager Liang Sheng, when did I make an agreement with your auction house to auction your treasure armor tonight? Flanders asked. This. Liang Sheng suddenly became anxious. He usually sells one piece of treasure armor every half month on time. He also promoted it like this half a month ago. Why did he suddenly change his mind? It's not that I, the Ghost King, can't trust you. It's just that I've told you, Manager Liang Shen, that I only deal with people I know well. If he's not here, I won't stay with you. Say goodbye. Flanders said coldly. After that, he quietly left the auction house. Usually after talking to Liang Shan, he would quietly send Flanders to a certain VIP room so that others could not tell or find out who was the seller of Baojia. But now, Liang Sheng obviously couldn't be trusted, so Flanders kept wearing a mask in the auction house, not daring to show his true face until he left. After leaving the auction house, he knew that there must be someone following him and his strength should not be low, but it was just tracking, because even the Wuhan Palace did not want to offend the seller of the treasure armor. Wuhandian currently just wants to know who the seller is and then cooperate with the seller. Sure enough, Flanders walked around the city a few times and there was still a black shadow like a maggot attached to his bones following behind him. Flanders was not that stupid and ran towards his lair. He simply left the city and headed to Xiandao City. In the auction house, Liang Sheng's face was extremely gloomy. He was completely unexpected that he failed to negotiate with the seller. If Baojia is not photographed by then, wouldn't this offend the customers? What would they think? Say the auction house deceived them. What would happen if the reputation of the auction house was damaged, leading to a sharp decrease in both sellers and buyers? It has only been half a month since I took office, and I have just received some benefits. I thought I would reach the peak of my life from now on, but I never expected that it would turn out like this. For a moment, he suddenly thought of what Liang Shan had said before, that the seller would only trade with him. However, things have not reached the point of reaching the end of the road yet. At least, he has completed the first task assigned to him by Wuhan Palace. The most important thing right now is that the credibility of the auction house cannot be questioned. Thinking of this, he hated Liang Shan so much. Now he can only get a piece of treasure armor before the auction ends tonight, so that he can survive tonight first. But he has to spend his own money. How can someone else easily take out the treasure armor that they bought? Therefore, he can only buy one at a higher price and then put it up for auction, which will result in a loss of blood. Moreover, this can only cope with tonight. What to do after that? You can't keep losing blood, right? Liang Sheng's scalp felt numb when he thought of this, and he regretted it. Chapter 94. They are all legends about them. Flanders hired a carriage and set off directly from Xiandao City. He pretended that the person following him was not noticed. The more careless he was now, the easier it would be to escape from this tracking later. Soto City Marshal Seoul Main Hall. Palace Master. After the Ghost King left the auction house, he hired a carriage and left the city directly. Now General Deacon Lio is following him. Wee Maxie frowned. Yeah, I got it. Let him be careful and don't lose him. Also, no matter what, we can't offend the other party before we know the details of the other party. Our goal is to make him follow us. Wuhandian is honest with each other and cooperates with each other. Yes, Hall Master. The subordinate knelt down on one knee and kowtowed. A few days later, this subordinate came to report the situation again. Master Lio, Master Lio. He has lost track of Master Lio. What? How can he lose the strength of the Soul King? It's useless for me to trust him so much. He is really a waste who only succeeds and fails. Waste? Wee Maxie said angrily. According to Master Lio, this person is not weak and maybe much higher than him. That's why I lost track of him. HMPH. He will make excuses. Go down and tell him not to waste time looking for it. If they don't sell treasure armor in Soto City, they must be somewhere else. Then they will naturally know where the Ghost King is. Yes. This subordinate retire. Wee Max's eyes were deep. Ghost King? It's interesting. I want to see where you will appear. Xiandao City, the capital of the Xiandao Empire, is the largest city in the Xiandao Empire. Its prosperity is unmatched by even Soto City. If the treasure armor can be auctioned in Xiandao City at home and attract more merchants, families, and sect forces, Dao City will be more prosperous that day, and over time, the empire will be even more prosperous. The name Ghost King has spread among the auction circle and the upper echelons of the empire. Whether it is the Xiandao Empire royal family or the Xiandao auction house, everyone hopes to cooperate with the Ghost King. When Flanders came to Xiandao City, he went to the Xiandao auction house for a tour as soon as possible and successfully made an appointment with the person in charge of the Xiandao auction house and agreed on the auction of the treasure armor. Xiandao auction house immediately advertised Flanders for free with great fanfare. Almost everyone in Xiandao City knew within just 2 days that treasure armor and other items were about to be auctioned at Xiandao auction house. However, at this moment, there has been no Baojia auction for a month at the Soto auction house. Many people immediately guessed something. The business at the auction house is getting worse day by day. Following the lead of the businessmen from Soto City who were cooperating with Tang Lin, people gradually learned that, because the Soto auction house had changed its supervisor, the seller of Baojia, the Ghost King, had cut off business with the Soto auction house of dealings. Later, people learned that the Ghost King had gone to Xiandao City and cooperated with the Xiandao auction house, the capital of the kingdom of Barak. After King Kundra learned the whole story, he was extremely angry and immediately summoned the head of the Liang family to question him. Within 4 years, the Ghost King's treasured armor had brought not even a tiny bit of benefit to Soto City and the Balak Kingdom. Now it suddenly offended people and forced them to leave their homeland and go to Xiandao City. How can he not be angry? In desperation, the head of the family called Liang Sheng back and transferred Liang Shan back to clean up the mess. He was also forced to step down as the head of the Liang family. Kundra's attitude is very obvious. In order to cooperate with the Ghost King again, he can refuse even the favor of Wuhan Palace. Wuhandian just wanted to have a little contact with this Ghost King, but he didn't expect to get such a strong reaction. Although the people in Wuhandian were dissatisfied, they were in the wrong after all, and had no reason to attack anyone. They could only find another opportunity to start from get it elsewhere. Notting City. Tangson had just entered school, met the master Yu Xiao Gang, and had already become his disciple. When she came to the 7th house, she met her roommate Wang Sheng and others, and later met Xiao Wu. After a competition, Xiao Wu successfully defeated Tang San and became the head of the 7th house, starting her career as a big sister. Hey, why are there portraits of Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu here? Tang San was surprised to find that there were posters of the two of them posted in the dormitory, immediately exclaimed, "Ah, who is this portrait? It's so good looking." Xiao Wu heard the voice and looked over, and suddenly realized that the portrait of Tang Lin holding a pan in his hand was so handsome. Hehe, you don't understand this. Wang Sheng stood up at this time and said, "The two of them are legends of our college. Now they are the idols of our not in college students." Idol? What is that? Can it be eaten? Xiao Wu bit her little finger and asked curiously. She had lived for 10 years, but this was the first time she heard this word. Tang Lin and Wang Sheng's faces were suddenly covered with black lines. Wang Sheng smiled and said, Xiao Wu, you are not starving, are you? You can't stop thinking about food. The idol I'm talking about is the object of our worship. He is an example for us to learn from. Do you understand? Oh, so that's what it is like. Although Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu have already graduated from Notting Junior Soul Master Academy, stories about their geniuses are still circulating in the academy. The teachers all ask their students to aim at these two as role models for them to learn from. Even the master is no exception. He just warned Tang San that he should practice hard like Tang Lin Wang Xiaoshu in the future. The entire Notting College, because of Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu, has an extremely strong cultivation atmosphere and learning atmosphere. The principal and teachers are overjoyed, and even many parents want to come and thank these two legends in person. Outside the city, in a carriage heading towards the soul hunting forest, a 6-year-old boy and a middle-aged man with a beard were sitting inside. The little boy was naturally Tang San, and the middle-aged man was the master. Regarding Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu, Tang San believed that the teachers knew more accurately and comprehensively, so he asked, Teacher, are Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu really powerful? What kind of geniuses are they? Tang Lin had bullied him once before, but he still remembered it, and had been practicing hard, hoping to avenge his shame and defeat Tang Lin in the future. Before coming to school, he had awakened his twin martial souls, and was still full of innate soul power. He had also made his first hidden weapon, and his strength and confidence had greatly increased. He thought that, after he obtained his first soul ring, he would definitely find Tang Lin to practice with. Unexpectedly, when he first entered the school was full of legends about Tang Lin. Obviously, Tang Lin had become a lot stronger, and his pressure and motivation were also greater, which made him want to know more about Tang Lin. They have only been in school for 4 years, and they have gone from Junior Soul Master Academy to Intermediate Soul Master Academy, and they have graduated from Intermediate Soul Master Academy a few months ago. Most people only advance to the Intermediate Soul Master Academy when they are 11 or 12 years old, but Tang Lin graduated from the Intermediate Soul Master Academy when he was only 10 years old. Moreover, their strength is only at the level of great soul masters, and they can already defeat the powerful ones at the level of soul masters. Do you think they are powerful? Is he a genius? The master recalled with joy on his face. After all, the master once taught Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu, and he was a little proud of the two children's current achievements. Moreover, he recognized Tang Lin from the bottom of his heart, because they were not only talented, but also worked very hard, and most importantly, they were also very sensible, polite, and respectful of their teachers. So, are they both so powerful now? It seems that I have to work harder. Tang San decided secretly in his heart. Originally he didn't know that Tang Lin and the two were so good, but now when he heard it, he immediately clenched his fists and his eyes were full of yearning. Don't worry, your twin martial souls are innately full of soul power, and you are also a peerless genius. As long as you are willing to practice hard, the teacher believes that one day, you will catch up with them. The master smiled. Yes, teacher. Chapter 95. Mandala Snake. Every time Tang Lin came back, before entering Notting City, he would pass by the soul hunting forest 400 miles outside the city and lick the box or something. When he came back this time, he happened to see the master and Tang San at the door. Tang Lin knew that Tang San would kill the mandala snake here and get his first soul ring of blue silver grass. It turns out that the plot has already developed to this point. Master, mistress. Tang Lin quickly waved and said hello. Tang Lin? The master turned around. Didn't you go out to practice? Why are you here? My sister is preparing to awaken her martial spirit, so she came back to take a look. She happened to pass by here today. Master, are you going to take Xiao San in and help him hunt the spirit beasts to obtain the spirit ring? Tang San remained cold and didn't speak. So you two have known each other for a long time? The master said with a smile. Yes, master. Tang San is my little brother. Teacher, I'm not familiar with him. Tang San said coldly. Tang Lin. The master glanced at Tang Lin, then at Tang San, and immediately burst into laughter. I didn't expect you two to have known each other for a long time. That's strange. Yesterday, mistress asked me about you. Hahaha. It seems that my previous warning to the mistress to learn from you was unnecessary. Tang San was immediately embarrassed. His little face instantly turned red. Tang Lin chuckled, ducked to his side, bent down, and whispered to him, "Oh, it turns out you were asking about me from the master. Alas, no wonder. Recently, the juniors and juniors of Notting College have people always worship me blindly, which makes me a little embarrassed. But let me tell you, you must not be obsessed with me. He is just a legend." Several black lines immediately appeared on Tang San's forehead. His little red face twitched slightly, and the expression he looked at Tang Lin seemed to be saying, "Can you please give me a little face?" Okay, since you all know each other, it's easy to handle. I'm about to take Xiaozhen in to hunt the soul beast. Since we meet him, you can go in with us. It won't take you much time, and I can rest assured that you are here," the master said. Although the master is a teacher in the academy, he is only a great soul master, and the combat effectiveness of Luo Sanpao, a mutated martial soul, is not as good as that of ordinary weapon soul masters. Tang Lin's combat prowess has long been better than that of the Soul Lord. With him around, not only will it be safe, but it will also be faster to help Xiaozhen obtain the soul ring. Inside the soul hunting forest, 3PO, open the way ahead. Xiao-san, follow us carefully, and don't leave us even half a step away. Luo Sanpao opened the way. While the master taught Tang San about martial spirits and spirit beasts, he led Tang San to walk cautiously, as if he was afraid that a soul beast would be killed somewhere. Tang Lin, on the other hand, was holding his head, whistling, and walking swaggeringly, feeling extremely relaxed and enjoying himself, as if he was strolling through his own back garden. It made both Master and Tang San sweat for him. Tang Lin has even visited the Stardao forest countless times. In his eyes, this small soul hunting forest is just like his own vegetable garden. There is not much difference into the night. Suddenly, a burst of urgent shouts sounded, and the master grabbed Tang San's hand, bowed slightly, and prepared a defensive posture for fighting. The surroundings suddenly became silent. A rustling sound came into Tang San's ears clearly, vaguely. The air seemed to have a bit more fishy smell. The smell was not strong, and even had a faint sweet and tea fragrance. Tang San's nose moved, and he subconsciously blurted out, "It's poisonous. Teacher, be careful." At the same time, the purple devil eyes opened, and he saw the soul beast in the darkness. There is the mandala snake. The master suddenly became nervous and secretly prayed in his heart, hoping that it was a 10-year-old bird. "Look at how nervous you are." Tang Lin yawned and opened his sleepy eyes. "It's just a 400-year-old datura snake." When the master heard this, he frowned. He didn't expect Tang Lin to be so arrogant. The datura snake was not an easy creature to deal with. Not only was it extremely fast, it was also extremely poisonous. He quickly pulled Tang San and Tang Lin behind him, and said in a deep voice, "Tang Lin, Xiao-san, now I will teach you a theory. If you have more rings and more bones, you will have a wave of skill. If you have less rings and less bones, you will run away. That is to say, when your number of soul rings and soul bones significantly exceeds that of your opponent, you must rely on your soul skills and soul power to launch an attack with all your strength to completely defeat the enemy. And when your soul rings and soul bones are obviously less than your opponent's, don't hesitate and run away immediately. Preserving life is the most important thing, and face is never as important as life. If this mandala snake is a 10-year-old soul beast, and Tang Lin is here, we don't need to be afraid at all. If it is 100-year-old, we can also give it a try, but if it is 200 or 300 years old or even higher, run away immediately." Sissy, a terrifying aura filled the air, and the figure of the mandala snake appeared, a full 4 meters long. The age of the mandala snake is directly proportional to its length. 4 meters long means it is a 400-year-old spirit beast. "Run!" the master shouted immediately. He didn't think that a great soul master like Tang Lin could fight against such a mandala snake that was nearly 400 years old. "3 guns, block it." Luo Sanpao jumped into the air and farted directly. At this moment, the master had already taken Tang San's little hand and ran away. Looking at their running backs, Tang Lin couldn't help but pick his nose. The mandala snake rushed over quickly, but he seemed not to notice it. The mandala snake is a dignified 400-year-old soul beast with its own spirituality. Knowing that Tang Lin had underestimated him, he felt as if he had been insulted by a kid, and he was extremely angry, so he used his speed and power to the extreme, concentrated the poison on his pointed fangs, and rushed towards Tang Lin. Duang. In an instant, a huge pan blocked Tang Lin's back. The Dachara snake's head hit the pan hard with a crisp sound. The Dachara snake suddenly had a splitting headache. Tears bursting into tears. What? Tang Lin quietly turned around and saw that Tang Lin stood motionless with his hands on his hips and his back to the Dachara snake, and even wounded it with one move point recommended reading / handsome. He was shocked. He didn't expect Tang Lin to be so powerful. When the master heard the noise, he turned around, and his eyes widened, also full of surprise. Boom. 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 Tang Lin raised the pan and slapped it hard. The head of the mandala snake was blown away. Then Tang Lin directly grabbed its tail and threw it to the ground left and right. The attack made the ground shake slightly. The nearly 400-year-old Dachara snake was like a toy in Tang Lin's hands, and it was powerless to fight back. What made them even more unbelievable was the 3 soul rings under Tang Lin's feet. Yellow, purple, black. Tang Lin scratched the back of his head with his little hands and asked doubtfully, "Teacher, I remember you told me that for a soul master to absorb a soul ring, the limit of the first ring is more than 400 years, the second ring will not exceed 800 years, and the third ring will not last more than 2000 years. It's only years at most, isn't it?" Div, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. System. Awesome. 1. The master was suddenly speechless. Seeing Tang San's big doubtful eyes looking at him, and then looking at the 3 rhythmic spirit rings at Tang Lin's feet, the master wiped his eyes and shook his head, still couldn't believe it. If I remember correctly, Tang Lin is only 10 years old. At such an age, he has actually obtained the 3rd soul ring, and has reached the soul master level, and the 3rd soul ring is a 10,000-year soul ring. What's wrong with this world? How could there be such a pervert as Tang Lin? How come? If he knew that Tang Lin's soul power had reached level, he would probably be even more surprised. Xiaozhen, come here quickly, your first soul ring is here. Tang Lin threw the 4-meter-long mandala snake at his feet with one hand and shouted, "What? My first soul ring? You mean this snake? But my martial soul is a plant, and this mandala snake is a beast-shaped soul beast. Can I make it my soul ring?" "No. Is there a conflict?" Tang Lin asked doubtfully. The master had recovered from the shock just now and said calmly, "Of course. As mentioned in my Wuhan mimicry theory, one of the 10 core competences of my Wuhan, plant Wuhans do not necessarily have to absorb the soul rings of plant soul beasts, and the beast martial souls may not be unable to absorb the plant soul rings. Under various prerequisites, the 2 can absorb each other." Only then did Tang Lin nod doubtfully. "Tang Lin, can you tell me why you can absorb the 2nd and 3rd soul rings at such a high age?" This is a question that the master wants to know most now. Master should also know that in fact, the number of years that our soul masters absorb soul rings is closely related to our physical fitness. My current physical fitness is equivalent to the physical fitness of a Soul King level soul master, so my 3rd soul, there is nothing strange about the ring being able to absorb 10,000 years of years. Tang Lin explained. If you don't ask, don't know, you will be shocked when you ask. The reason is that simple, but who would have thought that the physical fitness of a 10-year-old child is comparable to that of the Soul King? The master stepped forward and touched Tang Lin's body. Although it was delicate and smooth, he told Tang Lin that this body was not ordinary strong, but he was still a little confused, so he asked, "But your martial spirit is not a weapon. Soul Pan? How come your physical fitness is so good? You can be said to be a monster, far stronger than the number 1 beast in the mainland, the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family." Tang Lin was already a little confused by what he heard. Anyway, it meant that Tang Lin was super powerful. He subconsciously thought of the beast meat that Tang Lin gave to their family before. Tang Lin is really too mysterious. Actually, I also want to keep a low profile, but my physical fitness is so strong by nature, and my strength is there, and there is nothing I can do. Tang Lin sighed. Tang San immediately vomited blood. If he couldn't beat Tang Lin, he would have wanted to go up and beat him. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. This mandala snake is very powerful in terms of toxicity and toughness. As your first soul ring of blue silver grass, it is very suitable. Stab it to death quickly and absorb it. Get rid of its spirit ring. Tang Lin threw a dagger to Tang San and said, // The master cast an approving look at Tang Lin, nodded and said, yeah, that's right. This mandala snake is indeed the most suitable soul ring for Zayas and blue silver grass. I have said before that the blue silver grass is one of its major advantages is its non-exclusiveness. Because it is too weak, it will not reject any attributes attached to the soul ring, but will only be passively integrated into it. Therefore, absorbing the soul ring of this mandala snake is not a problem at all. Tang Lin still had great trust in the master. He picked up the dagger on the ground and stabbed the mandala snake directly. A yellow soul ring appeared above the body. Following the method taught by the master, Tang Lin sat down and began to absorb the soul ring. Tang Lin sat next to him and licked the box. The master looked at Tang San. Practice is the only criterion for testing truth. Tang Lin already knew the master's theory and had seen it in Wang Xiaoshu, but the master himself didn't know it, so in his eyes, Tang San was the first person to practice his theory, so he felt a little complicated at the moment. Nervous, excited, and confident. Teacher Hu, I've absorbed it. Soon, Tang San finished absorbing the first spirit ring and was filled with joy. The master finally relaxed and showed a happy smile. Teacher, after absorbing this century-old soul ring, I feel that my physical fitness has been sublimated, and my blue silver grass has also changed. It's okay. It's natural for your physical fitness to increase. Come on, show me what your blue silver grass's #1 soul skill is. The master said in surprise. It is good. He still understood the principle of master, once a teacher, always a father, and Tang Lin already regarded him as a friend in his heart, so there was nothing wrong with showing his soul skills in front of them. The first soul skill, coil. Blue silver grass suddenly emerged from the ground and wrapped tightly around a tree as big as a fist. With a strong pull, the tree was uprooted. At the same time, under the influence of the poison of the Dachara snake, the tree suddenly stopped it. Not bad, not bad. It's tough enough, and the mandala that comes with it is also very toxic. This first soul skill will be very beneficial to your development in the control system in the future. Teacher, the poison attached to it has no lethality. It only has a paralyzing effect. It seems that it can only control the enemy. It seems a bit difficult to defeat the enemy with this soul skill. Tang San looked at Tang Lin intentionally or unintentionally said, Irub, I helped you get the first soul ring, but you still regard me as your imaginary enemy! Exclamation mark. Tang Lin was speechless for a moment and immediately said, it's not that it's a bit difficult, it's that it's completely impossible. How about I'll let you take action right here. If you can knock me out, I, Tang Lin, will take your surname. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? We can have the same surname. Tang San rolled his eyes, but it's okay to give it a try with you. After saying that, the blue silver grass quickly wrapped around Tang Lin's feet. Tang San controlled the poison and strength to flow out, but suddenly found that it really couldn't shake Tang Lin at all. Xiaozhen, don't try. Your poison is of no use to him. The gap between you is too big now. The master smiled slightly. Just kidding. There is nothing he can do to Tang Lin, just because Tang Lin has 3 soul rings. What's more, Tang Lin also has 1000-year and 10,000-year soul rings. Not to mention poison. Even if he pulls it now, Tang Lin can't even pull it. Do not move. Tang San put away his martial spirit and nodded. Tang Lin is very satisfied at the moment. Thinking back to the past, I had fantasized about how to hold Tang San's thigh, how to coax him into practicing martial arts secrets, but now, I saw that I was already in existence, that he could never reach. He has twin martial souls, and so do I, and just releasing my 98k can make my father, a soul saint, feel uneasy. If I randomly apply a soul ring, wouldn't it make even a titled Douluo tremble? His innate soul power is level 10. Haha, Tang Lin, happen to be 10 levels more than him. Sure enough, the younger brother is the younger brother. Although you are the protagonist, I'm the strongest. System, awesome. Dev Chapter 97. The Master's Reminder, Tang San's Shock. 3. After truly experiencing Tang Lin's power, Tang San did not lose heart. This may be because he still doesn't understand much about the power system of Douluo Continent Soul Masters, or it may also be because his heart is extremely strong. He said that if he wants to defeat Tang Lin, he must defeat Tang Lin. No matter how powerful he is, one day he will catch up with him. Tang Lin was both a friend and a rival to him. Teacher, it's getting late now. Should we leave the soul hunting forest, or stay here for one night and leave tomorrow? Tang San asked. Although Tang Lin is here, it is always dangerous to spend the night in the forest. Let's go out first, and then talk about it, the master said. Now that Tang San has obtained the spirit ring, there is no need to stay here anymore. Besides, the spirit hunting forest is not very big, and you can leave in an hour or two. Hello. On the way, Plumpeluo Sanpeo opened the way. Tang Lin, although you are not my student or my disciple, there are some things I still want to remind you, the master said. Master, what are you talking about? Although you have never attended my class, Xiaoshu and I often ask you questions at school. In our eyes, you are our teacher. Tang Lin smiled. Hearing Tang Lin's words, Tang San nodded secretly. Tang Lin was sometimes too steady and sensible for people of his age, and sometimes a bit nonsensical, but no matter what, with enough respect for his teacher, he could become a teacher friend. Haha, Wang Xiaoshu did come to ask me a lot of questions, but you basically came to discuss issues with me, not to ask questions. I heard Xiaoshu say that you read a lot of books when you were 4 or 5 years old, and you even know more than your teachers in class. This makes us teachers feel a little embarrassed. The master sighed. After Tang San heard this, he was shocked. He didn't expect that Tang Lin was both civil and military. Tang Lin shook his head and smiled helplessly. I'm not as powerful as he said. Master, don't listen to his bragging. By the way, what did you want to say to me just now? By the way, I just want to remind you that you and Xiaoshu became famous at not an intermediate Soul Master Academy a few months ago, and now they may have been noticed by Wuhan Palace. Wuhan Palace is no longer what it used to be. Since the new Pope took office, he has vigorously conquered all kinds of masters and geniuses. You should keep a low profile in the future. Since ancient times, there have been countless geniuses, but how many of them can really grow up? Mistress, this is also a reminder to you. You all must remember that before your strength and power reach a certain level, you should try to be as low-key as possible. Working hard in cultivation is fundamental, the master warned. Tang San nodded seriously. What the master said made sense. Even his father said that he could not reveal his second martial spirit in front of anyone. Fortunately, he had Lanyan KO, a recognized useless martial soul, as a cover. Even if he performed better in the future, he probably wouldn't attract many people's attention. Master, I have written down all your reminders and warnings. Tang Lin replied with a nod. But he knew in his heart that it was okay to keep a low profile for a while, but being low-key blindly was not the answer. After all, you can't be timid all your life, and you have to take action when it's time to take action. The master didn't know that Tang Lin's cheats were even more powerful than Tang San's, so it was normal to be worried. After leaving the soul hunting forest, the three of them stopped to rest. Beside the carriage, a bonfire was lit. Tang San was familiar with his soul skills on the side. Tang Lin took out the pan and threw all kinds of animal meat into it, and there was a hodgepodge. Xiao-san, there's no one around this late at night. Show me your second martial spirit, Tang Lin said. Tang San immediately frowned. How did you know that I have a second martial spirit? Hahaha, it's not surprising. He should have guessed it after he just heard that you were born with full soul power. The master opened his eyes and said calmly, could it be that brother Tang Lin can also judge that I have another martial spirit by relying on the two pieces of information about my innate soul power and blue silver grass? Wouldn't that be as powerful as the teacher? Tang San's eyes widened, and he couldn't believe it, asked confidently. Tang Lin shook his head and smiled. How can I compete with the master? But what did you call me just now? The wind was too strong, and I didn't hear you. Call me again. Tang-san. The master smiled brightly when he saw it and turned to Tang-san with a smile. I said before that when he came to me during school, he basically came to discuss issues with me. Do you think I'm joking? Even now, regarding martial arts, soul beasts, etc., I can't find anyone not in college who can discuss it with me. So if Tang Lin can see it, it's normal, but if he can't, that's weird. Tang-san once again refreshed his understanding of Tang Lin. Tang-san held a hammer in his left hand, and a hammer as black as ink appeared in front of Tang Lin's eyes. The powerful clear sky hammer, the world's #1 martial spirit, appeared, and the surrounding air became stagnant. Brother Tang Lin, you are so powerful, don't you also have twin martial spirits? Tang-san glanced at Tang Lin and asked. Before Tang Lin could answer, the master smiled helplessly and said, as far as people know in the history of Douluo continent, there have only been 2 people with twin martial souls. You think everyone has twin martial souls just like you? Woolen cloth. Tang Lin had been with the master for several years at Notting College, but he had never revealed his second martial soul. The second pan was extremely powerful when it was revealed, so even the master didn't know that Tang Lin still had a martial soul. The master continued, but don't underestimate Tang Lin. Although he only has 1 martial spirit, look at his black patterned pan. In my opinion, it is comparable to the hammer in your hand. The current Tang-san still doesn't know that the hammer in his hand is the best martial spirit in the world, so he still doesn't understand the true weight of the master's words. But Tang-san also knew that his hammer was an extremely powerful martial spirit. After hearing what the master said, he looked at the pan where food was being cooked in disbelief. Several black lines suddenly appeared on his face. Is this pan also an extremely powerful martial spirit? Tang Lin grinned and whispered in his ear, my frying pan is called Haoshan Pot. Have you ever heard of the Haoshan sect, the best sect in the world? Tang-san shook his head, but he roughly understood what Tang Lin meant. The #1 sect in the world. Just by hearing the name, he knew how powerful it was. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It turned out that Tang Lin was the #1 sect in the world. People from Haoshan sect, no wonder it's so good. Come, eat, and see what's different about what he cooks in this pan. The master said, handing over a piece of animal meat. Teacher, I've eaten it, and I know it. It's just that I originally thought that this was his auxiliary soul skill, but I didn't expect that it was the basic attribute of his pan. Tang-san said, yes, you two have known each other for a long time. I think Xiaozhen must have eaten it. How could I forget about it? Ha ha ha. The master shook his head and smiled. The things cooked in Tang Lin's pan are of great help in improving the soul power and are of great help in improving the physical body. This is what the master has learned. This was one of the reasons why he never doubted that Tang Lin still had a martial spirit, because both he and Tang-san thought it was mainly the effect of cooking in a pan, but they didn't know that it was licked from the box of Tang Lin's soul-licking beast. The reason why animal meat is extraordinary. Chapter 98. Zio Chenaiu. 3. Notting College. Teaching office. I heard that the master took his disciple Tang-san to the soul hunting forest alone. Director Su asked. The 2 young teachers next to him nodded. We also heard about it, but we didn't expect that the master didn't ask the dean to go with him. Isn't he a friend of the dean? Isn't he too embarrassed to speak? The master is too maverick, but he doesn't even think about it himself. With his strength, I'm afraid he wouldn't even dare to go deep into the outer reaches of the soul hunting forest, right? It's really ridiculous that he helps people hunt soul beasts to obtain soul rings. I bet that, even if he tries hard enough, he can help Tang-san find a 40-year-old spirit ring. That's enough. Director Su couldn't stand listening anymore and shouted immediately, a master with such strength dares to take his students to the soul hunting forest alone. Do you dare? He doesn't want to disturb the dean. You don't want to rely on others. For people like this, what qualifications do you have to laugh at others and talk about them? Long after class ended, Kish was still empty. There were several murmurs from the next aisle. Those working study students really overestimate their abilities and actually want to challenge the 6th grade boss Zio. I guess it will be difficult to see working study students in class tomorrow. You can't say that. A work study student who dares to challenge the bully in our college must be quite capable. In a corner of Notting Junior Soul Master Academy, two groups of students were having a fight. One group was led by Zio Chenaiu, a 6th grade student, and the other group was led by Zio Wu, a work study student. Director Su of the Academic Affairs Office passed by with two young teachers, stopped, and observed with interest without stopping them. Little girl, it's too late for you to regret it now. Of course, I don't mind having one more pet rabbit. Zio Chenaiu said with his head held high and his face full of pride. The bet they made was that if they win, the work-study student will become everyone's pet. If they lose, everyone will call Zio Wu Sister Zio Wu. How could he, Zio Chenaiu, a 6th grade student, lose to a 1st grade work-study student who had just entered school? Therefore, they are extremely confident. Boss Zio, are you afraid? Hahaha, Wangsheng, I think you are out of your mind. You actually found a little girl to challenge me. You don't even want to ask who my idol is. There was a bit of pride in Zio Chenaiu's eyebrows. I don't care who your idol is. Zio Chenaiu is a man, so stop complaining. Zio Wu frowned and said angrily. The already beautiful face became angry, and a blush instantly appeared on the cheeks, making it even more cute. Zio Chenaiu grinned and secretly decided, I will accept Zio as a pet. Sister Zio, I'll come first. Wangsheng volunteered. Liu Long, you go first. Beat him until he has teeth all over the floor. Zio Chenaiu ordered. Zio-san, I haven't been to the Junior Soul Master Academy for a long time. Thinking about it, I really miss it. Come on, I'll go in with you and take a look. Tang Lin said with a smile. But he thought to himself, it's definitely not, because I want to see what Zio Wu looks like. Absolutely not. Who are you? If you are not a student of our college, you are not allowed in. The guard at the door blocked him. The guard saw that Tang Lin was wearing school uniform, so he didn't stop him, but Tang Lin couldn't. Just when Tang Lin and Tang Lin were about to talk, a student came to the door. He immediately said sharply, are you the new guard? How come you don't even recognize Tang Lin, the once peerless genius of our school? Although the student is just a student, he is someone who is expected to become a soul master, while the guard is just an ordinary civilian, so this student has the confidence to treat the guard like this. Although this man was rescuing him from the siege, both Tang Lin and Tang Lin were a little dissatisfied. The guard was just doing his job. As expected, spirit masters were the ones who looked down on others the most. What? You are Tang Lin? Upon hearing this, the guard immediately threw away the weapon in his hand and ran forward excitedly. Are you my son's idol, the young great soul master in history? Forgive me for my blindness, just now I didn't recognize you. Uncle, you're welcome. Can I go in with my junior? Tang Lin held the guard's hands. Okay. Since you are a student of our college, of course you can enter. Thank you, uncle. Let's go first. Senior Tang Lin. At this time, the student just now ran over. Hey, Senior Tang Lin, why are you with Tang San? Do you know, he is a work-study student, and his martial spirit is a useless martial spirit blue silver grass. There were some rich and powerful people in the academy who despised the work-study students who came from poor mountain villages. Tang San's martial spirit was still the standard useless martial spirit blue silver grass, so he naturally became the person they despised the most. He felt uncomfortable and confused that his idol actually walked with such a person. Tang San is my friend. What's weird about me walking with him? It's you. Do I know you? Tang Lin said coldly. After saying that, he directly followed Tang San without even looking at him. Tang San is actually the idol's friend. He was immediately confused on the spot. Oh. Although Wang Sheng had a beast spirit, he was too impatient and was defeated by Liu Long within a few moves. Zio Wu crossed her arms and frowned, almost thinking that she had 6. But the next moment, a familiar figure appeared. Her beautiful big eyes couldn't help but reveal a light of surprise. Zio-san, you are back. Okay. Next, let me take over. Tang San said lightly. Obviously he was already a little angry. So what if the little bully in 6th grade actually dares to bully Xiao Wu, who is sharing the same bed with me? I wonder if I won't teach you a lesson. Xiao Chenaiu, you just want Xiao Wu to be your pet, right? Tang Lin stood up. Come up. I'm not interested in anyone else. What? Am I right? He, a man with the blue silver grass martial spirit, dares to challenge boss Xiao? Everyone looked over in disbelief. Is there something wrong with this Tang Lin's brain? Far away. Director Su, look, Tang Lin has come back so quickly. What am I talking about? The master must have randomly found a 10-year soul ring for him in the outermost part of the soul hunting forest. Director Su also frowned. Is it possible that this is really the case? Tang-san, are you sure you want to fight Xiao Chenai with me? Xiao Chenai shook his head and said with a smile. It's you, come on. Tang Lin said firmly. Haha. Everyone laughed, thinking that Tang San, a work-study student, was really crazy. Xiao Chenai, a 6th grade student, martial spirit, wolf, 11th level first ring battle soul master. A white soul ring lit up from the soles of his feet. Although it is only a white soul ring, it is a soul ring from the year. Among many students, his soul ring has the highest year, so he is very proud. After all, not everyone in Notting College has a century-old soul ring like those two perverts Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu. Tang San, a first-year work-study student, martial soul, blue silver grass, 11th level 1 ring weapon soul master. After saying that, a yellow spirit ring appeared on the sole of Tang San's foot, which was extremely dazzling. Chapter 99. The idol appears. 1. Tang San's first spirit ring was actually a yellow spirit ring. What does the yellow soul ring represent? Everyone gasped. Except for Xiao Wu, everyone opened their mouths, as if they could be dragged to the ground. The scene suddenly became extremely quiet. 100-year-old soul rings? Xiao Chenai quickly wiped his eyes, widened his eyes again, and shouted loudly in disbelief. How is this possible? Your martial spirit is just a useless piece of blue silver grass. Xiao Chenai and the younger brothers behind him couldn't help, but swallowed their saliva, full of shock. Haha, you know how powerful our mistress is. Xiao Wu put her hands on her hips, extremely happy. The eyes of the work-study students suddenly lit up, and they became energetic several times over. In the distance, Director Su of the Academic Affairs Office and the two young teachers saw the century-old spirit ring at Tang San's feet, and they also had extremely surprised expressions. Director Su said excitedly, look, the color of the soul ring under his feet is rich and gorgeous. I'm afraid this is a soul ring that is close to 400 years old. Being exposed to the soul rings of 10-year and century-old soul beasts all year round makes him extremely sensitive to these. He can almost tell the age of the soul ring just by looking at it. The master was able to help him hunt down a 300 to 400-year-old spirit beast. How is this possible? How did he do it? The young teacher next to him was amazed. That's right, none of us know about Grandmasters Wu and Luo Sanpao. It's difficult to defeat a 100-year-old soul beast, let alone one that's 300 or 400 years old. Luo Sanpao. Hiss, could it be that the soul beast was jumped to death by Luo Sanpao's fart? Several teachers were puzzled far away. Driven by curiosity, Tang Lin observed Xiao Wu. This was the heroine, Tang San's sister, and his wife appears to be only 6 years old. In fact, it is a 10-year-old soul beast. Her two big ears were slightly bent downwards, and her pink cheeks were extremely cute, but in Tang Lin's opinion, she was still not as cute as his chubby and greedy sister. Blue silver grass, level, 100-year spirit ring. Someone tell me, is this true? Xiao Chenai began to feel a little unable to withstand Tang San's momentum. Boss, let him be crippled. He's just a blue silver grass. What's the point of having a stronger soul ring? A senior student couldn't help but say. Idiot, shut up. Xiao Chenai shouted angrily. He's so excited. By now, it was no longer a question of Tang Sanli not being powerful. He is a soul master with the blue silver grass martial spirit, and his first soul ring can have a century-old soul ring. How can the power behind it be simple? His father is the city lord of Notting City. Even for a person with his status and background, his first soul ring is not a century-old soul ring. If he offends the wrong person, he will suffer not only himself, but also others. His family will be implicated. Are you really a work-study student? Xiao Chenyu couldn't help but wonder. He felt in his heart that he should ask clearly before deciding whether to take action. Who helped you obtain your century-old soul ring? Work-study students come from remote rural areas. Apart from the academy, where can anyone help them hunt soul beasts and obtain soul rings? But it is impossible for the academy to help people obtain a century-old soul ring. First of all, it is extremely difficult to hunt down century-level soul beasts. Secondly, there are risks. What if the student cannot withstand the pressure of the century-old soul ring and explodes to death? Therefore, as we all know, when the academy helps students hunt soul beasts, the first soul rings they obtain are basically at the 10-year level. Therefore, the century-old spirit ring on Tang Lin was definitely not obtained by the academy for him, so it can be concluded that it was the work of the forces behind him. As the son of the Lord of Notting City, Xiao Chenyu was not an idiot, so he quickly thought of this. Susuosuo, do you want to fight our mistress? Are you afraid? Xiao Wu frowned. Xiao Chenyu dared not say anything in anger, but looked at Tang San, as if waiting for Tang San's answer. I helped him get it. Tang San was about to speak when a voice came from behind. The breeze blew by, raising a wisp of dust on the ground, and an extremely handsome figure appeared in everyone's sight instantly. The visitor was none other than Tang Lin. Idol. My idol. Xiao Chenyu shouted excitedly when he saw Tang Lin. Idol. My idol. The boys behind him said in unison. Low-key, low-key. Tang Lin stopped repeatedly, but you can shout this kind of slogan more in the future. So it's Tang Lin? Director Su was about to leave when he suddenly saw Tang Lin appear. He immediately nodded and said, then it's not surprising. I almost believed your lies. Come and tell me, what kind of fart does it take to kill a 300 to 400 year old spirit beast? It's hard to say. Tang Lin, Tang San, both have the surname Tang. Do you think they are a family? Director Su said to himself, you two should be smarter from now on. Tang San, master, we all don't mess with me. Tang Lin appeared. Xiao Wu looked at his back curiously. It turns out that Xiao San's century-old soul ring was obtained with his help. He is the idol of many people in Notting College. Tang Lin, he's quite good looking. Xiao Wu bit her finger, bending her two rabbit ears, looking extremely playful and cute. Okay. Tang Lin suddenly turned his head. I seem to hear someone behind me saying I'm handsome. Xiao Chenyu had an extremely flexible mind. Both Tang San and Tang Lin were named Tang. Tang Lin just said that Tang San's soul ring was obtained with his help. Obviously, the relationship between the two people was unusual, and they were most likely from the same family. Who is Tang Lin? With the strength of a great soul master, he defeated the soul master. My father always showed courtesy to me when he saw me. Oh no, he said later that it was not just 3 points, but 5, 6, 7, or 8 points. I really can't afford it. Hahaha, Senior Tang Lin, my idol, we were all joking just now. This is all a misunderstanding. Xiao Chenyu suddenly thought and came over to flatter him with a smile. Yes, misunderstanding. Definitely a misunderstanding. The boys nodded wildly. They had long heard that there was once a senior from the Intermediate Soul Master Academy who plotted against Senior Tang Lin. As a result, after being beaten up by Senior Tang Lin, he became much more evil and would never scheming again. Just thinking about that scene makes me break out in cold sweat. What a scary bunch. The working study students suddenly straightened their backs and said forcefully, they are lying. They are obviously bullying us working study students. Boss Xiao even wants to take our little dance sister as his pet. That's right. Xiao Wu put her hands on her hips and became angry. Brother Tang Lin, can I solve this matter by myself? Tang San walked over and whispered in Tang Lin's ear. Tang San knew that, as long as Tang Lin said a word, Xiao Chenyu would immediately apologize, and from now on he would not dare to offend their work-study students again. However, Xiao Chenyu actually had such dirty thoughts about Xiao Wu at such a young age, so he still wanted to educate Xiao Chenyu himself. Seeing Tang Lin and Tang Lin idols talking so close to each other, Xiao Chenai was filled with envy, and at the same time, he gradually started to panic in his heart. Wait a moment. Tang Lin raised his hand. Let me make it clear first, I'm not here to help anyone. I just happened to be passing by. Seeing you all working so hard to practice here, I just wanted to come over and be a referee for you. Tang Lin breathed a sigh of relief, then clenched his fist tightly and looked at Xiao Chenai. Xiao Chenai, did you hear that? Senior Tang Lin is just here to be the referee. Look how scared you are. Ha 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 ha. Wang Sheng covered the chin that was hit just now and laughed. Xiao Chenai's face turned red, but he was still a little embarrassed. If he can't win this fight, he will have to ask this girl Xiao Wu to be Xiao Wu's sister. If he can't fight, he will probably offend Tang Lin. No matter how you calculate it, you are at a loss. What should you do? Chapter 100. Xiao Chenai admires Tang Lin's influence. 2. Xiao Chenai was in a dilemma. I don't know what to do for a while. Tang Lin was so smart that he saw Xiao Chenai's concerns at that time, so he stepped forward and said, Xiao Chenai, don't worry, I'm really just a work-study student. I don't have any family influence. I only know brother Tang Lin. That's all. Even if you defeat me, he won't retaliate against you. Tang Lin was so embarrassed that even Tang Lin himself didn't know that he had a father named Beginning of Douluo, and he had a great background. Xiao Chenai looked at Tang Lin doubtfully. Tang Lin nodded. Don't worry, as long as you can beat him, I guarantee that no one will dare to touch you. After receiving the idol's assurance, Xiao Chenai's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he gave up all worries, turned to look at Xiao Wu, and then looked at Tang San. In that case, let's do it. After being possessed by the martial spirit, Xiao Chenai's body and strength were greatly improved. He raised his wolf claws and rushed towards Tang San in an instant. It seems that Xiao Chenai's attack is just a simple attack, but in fact, his beast spirit is extremely powerful, and every move is extremely powerful and explosive. Want to go head to head? Tang San grinned. What the beast martial spirit was good at was close combat, and the close combat ability of Tang Sek's skills was not weak either. Zuanayu hand. Whispering in his mouth, his hands instantly turned snow white point. Since you want to fight head on, I will satisfy you and make you convinced that you have lost. Boss Xiao's wolf claws can even crush stones. So what if Tang San has a 100-year soul ring? He's not that stupid. He chose to confront the boss head on. Isn't this looking for death? Ha ha ha. When Xiao Chenai's younger brother saw Tang San raise his weak, white palms to meet Xiao Chenai's huge, thick and powerful wolf claws, they immediately showed proud smiles. It seemed that they could see Tang San's disastrous defeat in the next moment. Exclamation mark. However, the next moment, oh, the two palms touched each other and immediately made a sound. The green and white lights lit up at the same time, and the airflow generated by the explosion of energy blew around. Everyone watching the battle was unsteady on their feet and couldn't open their eyes. Only Tang Lin stood still and was not affected at all. When everyone opened their eyes again, they discovered that Tang San had the advantage in the palm of the two. Xiao Chenai was extremely surprised at first, and then became extremely angry. His own magnificent beast spirit and martial spirit could not compete with Tang San's palm. What kind of international joke is this? However, something that surprised Xiao Chenai even more happened. When his wolf claws grasped Tang San's hands, he clearly felt that Tang San's hands were as hard as iron. No matter how hard he tried, he could not draw in the slightest bit. Then, Tang San moved his hands apart and forcefully followed. He pulled out his wolf claws and pinched Xiao Chenai's wrist with his backhand to prevent him from being knocked back. He moved his hands back, leaned forward, and directly hit Xiao Chenai's abdomen with his right shoulder. Xiao Chenai's big body was so hit that he flew up and fell 3 meters away. His younger brothers instantly shocked Tang San into a god. This kid is not a human, but a monster. Let's end it like this. I don't have time to play with you anymore. Tang San said coldly, the first soul skill, entanglement. Xiao Chenai was thrown away, and he jumped up immediately, before he even understood what was going on. But the next moment, along with Tang San's voice, Several thick blue silver grasses suddenly surged up from under his feet, instantly binding his feet tightly. "What is this?" Xiao Chenyu shouted in fright, as if he had seen a ghost. He found that, no matter how hard he tried to break free, it was all in vain. "How can this be?" Exclamation mark. Tang Lin walked up to Xiao Chenyu step by step and said humbly, "No need to try. You can't break free. My first spirit ring is the mandala snake, so my blue silver grass has the mandala snake. The tenacity of the Dachara snake. Of course, there is also a little bit of the poison of the Dachara snake. If you feel that you still have the strength to fight again, I don't mind letting you taste the taste of Dachara snake venom. Oh, by the way, it won't detoxify." When he heard Tang Lin say that this blue silver grass could also be poisonous, and he didn't know how to detoxify it, Xiao Chenyu instantly panicked. No, 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 I give up. Xiao Chenyu felt miserable inside. He was obviously 6 years older than Tang San, and he was obviously a beast spirit, while Tang San was a blue silver grass, but he couldn't beat him. Hehe, the mistress is awesome. Tang San won with an absolute advantage. Xiao Wu jumped for joy. "Xiao Chenyu, if you don't hurry up and fulfill your agreement, call me Sister Xiao Wu. And you, HMPH, I don't accept it. If I lose to Tang San, I can recognize him as the boss, but you." Xiao Chenyu said. Xiao Wu, a 6-year-old girl, was asked to call him Sister Xiao Wu, and he was called in front of his idol Tang Lin. He was so embarrassed that he quickly found an opportunity to deny it. "You, how dare you cheat?" Xiao Wu said angrily. "Xiao Chenyu, you should just call her Sister Xiao. You can't even beat me, and you still want to beat her?" Tang Lin said solemnly. "What? You mean you can't beat her?" Xiao Chenyu didn't believe it, and asked with a frown. Yes. Not only Xiao Chenyu, but also his younger brothers opened their mouths in disbelief. Xiao Wu stood up immediately. "What? You still don't believe it? Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Xiao Wu, a first-year work-study student, Wuhan, Rabbit, 12th level 1 ring battle soul master." Not to mention Xiao Chenyu and his younger brothers, even Tang Lin was surprised. He didn't expect Xiao Wu to become a soul master. Moreover, her soul power is 1 level higher than mine, but she is about the same age as him. Could it be said that she is also born with full soul power? Then, a yellow soul ring appeared at Xiao Wu's feet. It almost blinded everyone. "What?" Exclamation mark. "Another century-old soul ring!" Exclamation mark. Everyone's eyes really widened this time. It took a long time to confirm that they had seen correctly before they believed what Tang Lin just said. Xiao Chenyu looked slumped, lowered his head and walked over. "Okay, I'm convinced. Sister Xiao, from now on you will be the eldest sister of our Northern Junior Soul Master Academy. You all come here quickly. You have met Sister Xiao." Xiao Wu suddenly held her head high and was overjoyed. Yes, yes, if you are willing to gamble, you have to admit defeat. From now on, you must study hard and practice hard in school. Don't have such dirty thoughts about accepting little girls as your pets. Do you understand? Tang Lin coughed lightly at this time. A few times, he put his hands behind his hands and said like a teacher educating students. Everyone was happy to receive the teachings from their idol. Even Xiao Chenyu immediately came out of his sadness and nodded crazily to Tang Lin. "I know, idol. From now on, I will never do this again." This thought, "From now on, I will definitely urge everyone to learn from you and practice hard. Don't worry senior, we will definitely follow your lead. I have decided that from today on, I will never play with clay figures again. I will listen to the lectures carefully and run at least 20 laps on the playground every day. Gauden, you will supervise me." When Director Su of the Academic Affairs Office saw this, he was both shocked and happy. First of all, following the two unparalleled talents of Tang Lin and Wang Xiaoshu, the academy now has a genius like Tang Lin Xiao. Second, it is the influence Tang Lin brings to the students of the college. Tang Lin's casual words are simply better than 10 words from the parents and teachers of those naughty students. From then on, the work-study students of Notting Junior Soul Master Academy and the wealthy second-generation officials such as Boss Zhao will gradually get along with each other, and their enthusiasm for learning and cultivation will increase again. He immediately ran to find the principal. The principal must come forward and ask Tang Lin to teach the students a lesson in order to improve the school atmosphere. The end of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.